This is Friday Sports. I'm Robert Workman.
Thank you, sir. 7 now before the hour.
If you're feeling apple, why don't you make yourself a waffle? Don't have a waffle time, have a waffle time. Make yourself a waffle.
Good day for a waffle. When America in the Morning returns after these messages.
Peanut butter,
Do you have $10,000 or more in federal student loans? You may qualify to have your entire student loan forgiven with one free call. That's right. If you're a teacher, nurse, police officer, firefighter, or work for a nonprofit, then you may qualify to have your entire student loan forgiven. The Student Loan Council wants to give you free information on all the student loan programs that can help. The sooner you call, the faster they can help. Get the maximum loan forgiveness, loan reduction, or loan consolidation available. Plus, find out in the first free call what you qualify for. Loan forgiveness specialists are standing by to answer all of your questions for free. So stop worrying about federal student loan payments. This information can change your life. Call 800-506-5810. That's 800-506-5810. Not available in North Dakota. Wipe out your federal student loan debt. Find out how. Call 800-506-5810. That's 800-506-5810.
What's taking so long to download that song? What are you using? Dial-up?
No way, dude. I've got cable modem.
What are you, a caveman? You have access to fiber. Why are you paying more for less when you can be using the fastest internet on the planet with iFIBER internet?
Righteous, dude. What's that?
Hurley, you could be surfing the web at least 40 to 200 times faster than cable modem using true light speed with iFIBER Communications fiber internet and still save some major bucks over cable modems. Get off that old analog cable and join this century with iFIBER internet. Hurley?
Yeah?
So what are you doing now?
Dude, I'm calling iFIBER to get hooked up so I can totally surf the web at light speed.
Oh, you're such a caveman.
Ha! Totally.
You can sign up now with iFIBER Communications. You can find us on the web at iFIBER.tv or call us today at 360-427-4000. That's 360-427-4000.
iFIBER Internet. It's totally awesome, dude.
At 4 before the hour, this is America in the Morning. Even before it hits the silver screen, Rick Damigella predicts a potential blockbuster will be #1 in theaters this weekend. It's what's now showing.
Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice hits movie screens this weekend. Over 4,200 screens to be exact. The follow-up to 2013's Man of Steel will definitely debut at #1 at the box office, but just how much could it make during its opening weekend? Box office analysts at Exhibitor Relations predict Batman vs. Superman could open with around $150 million domestically and $300 million globally. Earlier this week, Fandango announced Dawn of Justice had become its top pre-selling superhero film ever, surpassing The Dark Knight Rises and Avengers Age of Ultron. Warner Brothers, the studio behind the film, is already in production on a Wonder Woman standalone movie, and Batman vs. Superman director Zack Snyder told Entertainment Weekly that filming will begin on the sequel, Justice League Part 1, on April 11th.
I need some air.
There is another new release in theaters this weekend, if Brawling Heroes isn't to your taste. Nearly 14 years after the original, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2 reunites the entire principal cast of the original in a rom-com that involves, as you might have guessed, another wedding. Variety reports the movie is expected to open in the $10 million range. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
3 before the hour, there's a day for everything. March 25th is International Waffle Day. Mark Chase brings us a little trivia on the sometimes square, sometimes round, rigid treat.
The tradition began in Sweden, where folks celebrate the beginning of spring by eating lots and lots of waffles. The first waffles in the Americas, though, were brought here by the Pilgrims back in 1620. Incidentally, March 25th is the day for the international celebration. The United States honors waffles on a different day, August 24th. That's the day in 1869 when the first waffle iron was patented in the U.S. I'm Mark Chase.
Playboy might be up for sale. The publishing and business enterprise has hired an investment bank to advise the company. The Wall Street Journal says the iconic men's magazine and its various assets could pull in over $500 million. And celebrating birthdays today, singer Aretha Franklin, 74, musician Elton John, 69. That's it for America in the Morning for Friday, March 25th, 2016. Good Friday. Our producer is Tom Delac. Senior producer, Kevin Delaney. I'm John Trout, and this is Westwood One News.
Hi, everyone. This is Mark Tobert, your advertising consultant from iFIBER ONE Newsradio. Are you missing customers because you only market to a specific group? iFIBER ONE Newsradio can help you hit a larger group of buyers with our diverse audience. We are 24 hours of local and national breaking news, award-winning talk radio, and primetime sports, including local high school sports. What does this mean to you? This means our listeners listen longer to entire programs and don't switch to another station when a commercial comes on. Our coverage in the Puget Sound area hits over 500,000 listeners, including Mason County, Thurston County, Grace Harbor County, King, Pierce, Joint Base Lewis McCourt, and Kitsap County to the Bremerton Naval Base. All advertising is 100% tax deductible. So how can you afford not to advertise? Call me, Mark Tobert, at iFIBER ONE Newsradio to become a total audience plan advertiser. Just call 360-426-1030.
The Chad Benson Show, live weekdays from 3 to 6 on iFIBER ONE Newsradio, AM 1030 and FM 1033, KMAS Shelton.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Karen Chase.
The United States stands firmly behind Belgium and with the nations of Europe in the face of this tragedy.
Secretary of State John Kerry is in Brussels, where he confirmed the sad news that 2 Americans were among those killed in the Brussels bombings. The family issued a statement saying members are grateful to have closure on this tragic situation. The 2 are Dutch citizens who lived in the U.S. ABC's Alex Marquardt is in Brussels, where he says tensions remain high.
Belgium has now dropped its terror alert level to its 2nd highest level, but that means they still believe that an attack is serious and likely. Secretary of State John Kerry will today be holding meetings to discuss security issues, but will also be showing American support for Belgians.
Overnight security sweeps across Brussels turned up 6 suspects, including 1 with ties to the ringleader of the Paris terror attacks. President Obama plans to convene a special session of world leaders to discuss a battle plan against ISIS next week in Washington. The White House says he's adding it to an already scheduled summit that's focused on securing nuclear materials. The search for a missing toddler in Indiana has ended in tragedy. Her body was found far from home, and police have a suspect in custody. ABC's Ryan Burrow has the details.
The body was found about 10 miles from where Shaylin Ammerman went missing Wednesday morning. Indiana State Police Sergeant Kurt Journal says an autopsy will be performed on the body Friday.
For that autopsy, we are hopeful that a positive identification will be made and also a cause of death.
Now in custody, 22-year-old Kyle Parker of Spencer, Indiana. He's been identified as a friend of Shaylin's father, who had been at the house the night before the girl disappeared. Ryan Burrow, ABC News.
Steve Martin remembers Gary Shandling as a very special comedian with a beautifully unpredictable mind. Shandling died of a massive heart attack in Los Angeles. He was 66. Family members say he had no history of heart disease. Billy Crystal called him one of the most brilliant people he's ever known. This is ABC News.
ABC Radio presents Made in America with David Muir. Brought to you by Advance Auto Parts Speedworks Rewards. No cards, no points, no nonsense. Details at advanceautoparts.com.
Tabasco. It's the red and green bottle, a staple in grocery stores, made on Avery Island, Louisiana. Produced for almost 150 years.
The same day the peppers are picked, they are ground into mash.
From there, it's right into places like New York's Blue Smoke Restaurant, a key ingredient in Chef Jean-Paul Bourgeot's hot wings.
They're perfect.
This is World News Tonight's David Muir. That's Made in America.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Friday's first endless apps of 2016 begins now.
Kitchen, we are a go.
That's right. America's favorite guilty pleasure is back. And $10 still gets you endless rounds of your favorite app. Like mozzarella sticks, loaded potato skins, or 8 styles of wings. We're talking endless rounds of the best appetizers on earth.
More endless apps for mankind.
Endless apps are back at Friday.
Suck at that.
We've all heard the nightmare stories about contractors who say they can redo your kitchen in 6 weeks, but 6 months later, they've still got the room roped off and covered in debris. ABC's Scott Goldberg talks to the experts about making sure you're hiring honorable people for the job.
Imagine having a problem like Paul Theory's.
Everything was just dripping through.
He and his wife paid thousands of dollars for a new roof that started leaking.
I says, what about
our bathroom ceiling. Well, that's not our responsibility. You have to deal with that.
They took a family recommendation for the contractor. Experts say they should have checked references and websites like the Federal Trade Commission and the Better Business Bureau.
We were hoping to get a resolution, but it looks like we're going to have to pay someone to come in to repair it.
Scott Goldberg, ABC News.
A Virginia family has finally been reunited with their dog 3 years after it disappeared before they moved to Texas. They got a call the other day from an animal shelter where the dog had been turned over. Workers found the chip and ultimately the owners. Karen Chase, ABC News.
Local news is brought to you by Shelton Health and Rehabilitation Center. Find them online at sheltonhealthandrehab.com.
From the iFIBER ONE Newsradio studios, I'm Marilyn Foster. The Washington State Democratic Party caucuses are tomorrow at 10 a.m. Hillary Clinton is maintaining a 300-delegate lead over Bernie Sanders after Tuesday night's contests. There are 118 Democratic delegates at stake in Washington, with 101 to be awarded proportionally based on the results of the caucuses. The remaining 17 are superdelegates or party leaders who can back any candidate they wish. Anyone who will be 18 by November 8, 2016, and affirms they're a Democrat on caucus day is eligible to participate. Find your caucus location and pre-register online at demcaucus.com. Mason County commissioners directed human resources staff to check references and backgrounds on 2 finalists for the new county management position of Community Services Director. The person the commissioners appoint would supervise community development and health department finances, planning, and permit assistance. The new director would also oversee the environmental health and the community family health departments. County Commissioner Terry Jeffries said the commissioners could vote on filling the position at the April 5th regular meeting or during a special meeting scheduled before then if possible. The Washington State Department of Corrections is looking for a new IT chief. Ira Foyer, who was in charge of the department's information technology for about a year, has resigned. His departure isn't part of any disciplinary action taken at the department as a result of the improper early release of thousands of prisoners in Washington. Foyer told investigators about the programming problem that caused the releases and took steps to get it resolved. During this week's Port of Call on Daybreak, Commissioner Dick Taylor talked about this June's Cascadia Rising earthquake drill that's going to be happening at Sanderson Field. He said at least 500 service members will be coming in and staying on the old fairground property.
I just spent, 2 days in a planning conference. This thing is the largest exercise in the Northwest.
Wow.
It's going to be, there are 3 states involved plus Canada. That's Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Canada are all involved in it. It's going to include players from the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, the Marines, and of course the Washington National Guard, civilian agencies down to county agencies. Of course, Sheriff's Office, emergency planning guys, all that kind of stuff is going to be involved. Hundreds of people. And right here on Sanderson Field.
All of the service members will be bringing everything they would need to stage and react to a large earthquake in this area. You can find more information on Cascadia Rising on iFIBER1newsradio.com. For iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Marilyn Foster.
It's about your life and your money. It's the Dave Ramsey Show.
The more generous you are, the more attractive you are. Generous people are attractive. They're just nicer people. You've been around somebody that never gives anything and is selfish. Every time you see them coming, they want something. They're not bringing something to the party. They're taking something from the party. All they talk about is themselves and what they can get from the interaction. Those aren't generous people. Hi, this is Dave Ramsey. Tune into my show weekdays from noon to 3 on iFIBER One News Radio.
At Mason PUD3, we know that time changes all things, like phone numbers, mailing addresses, and email addresses, even names. PUD3 needs your correct account information for emergency contacts and online security. To make this fun, all PUD3 customers who update or confirm their account information by April 27th will have their names placed into a drawing for a free iPad mini. Go to masonpud3.org/account to learn more.
Now, from the all-new Gillis Auto Center Sports Desk, here's Jeff Slakey.
Friday. Hello. I knew it, Carol. Had them the whole time. Oregon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, let me check my bracket. Oregon. Oh, wait, no, we had them going on the first round, actually, against number 16, Holy Cross. That was in retrospect, Carol, that was a poor choice by me. I'll take that one.
Yes, you should.
Because last night, Dylan Brooks scored 22, and the Oregon Ducks, quack, quack, advances to the Elite Eight and are on the brink of its first Final Four in 77 years. 82-68 over the defending national champions, old Coach K, Duke Blue Devils last night in the West Region semifinals of the NCAA tournament. Wow. Villanova, Oklahoma, and Kansas also won. That did not help us either.
No.
UW Husky women's team is in the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2001. They play Kentucky in Kentucky at 4. Tonight we've got Gonzaga basketball on the radio taking on Syracuse at 6:40, pregame at 6:20. Bulldogs head coach Mark Few talks about going up against Syracuse's famed 2-3 zone defense as opposed to a more normal man defense.
We've probably played, I bet, less than 30 possessions against zone this year, mostly because teams fear Wilcher so much. And so it's going to be interesting to play it for 40 minutes, because you just don't create or have that same kind of rhythm you have a lot of times with your man offense.
So once again, we'll have that game for you. And imagine this. Gonzaga wins tonight and Oregon beats Oklahoma. Then it looks like, if I'm reading this bracket right, which I think I am, it would be an Oregon Gonzaga in the Final Four.
Crazy.
That would be great. That'd be awesome for the Pac Northwest. Nelson Cruz busted out of a slump with a double and an RBI single to help the hot-hitting Seattle Mariners to a 10-8 victory over the Rockies yesterday. Cruz entered 3 for 29 this spring, collected both hits against the struggling Rockies starters Tyler Chatwood. Seth Smith had 2 doubles and drove in 3, and Daniel Robertson tripled in a run for the Mariners, who have scored 22 runs in 2 games. And the Seattle Sounders have signed former U.S. national team forward Hercules Gomez, looking to jumpstart the club after losing the first 3 matches to start the MLS season. 6:11 now at iFIBER ONE News Radio, and Carol Gardner has a check on the forecast.
It's partly cloudy this morning, and there might be a few showers early, but today will turn out to be a nice day, afternoon, with some sunshine, and highs will be in the mid-50s. Tomorrow, cloudy, slight warmer, highs in the upper 50s, and Sunday, a new system rolls in with scattered showers throughout the day. Looking ahead, by Tuesday or Wednesday, it's looking dry and warmer. Temps in the 60s. I'm not going to say that number that I heard you throwing about yesterday.
I bandied about a large
and I am holding off on it.
High number.
But if you want to find out the full forecast, check out iFiber1newsradio.com. Check the weather page. And right now, it is 42 in Shelton.
Now, from the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South South's most important people. You. From business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor, your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
On Daybreak is what he wanted to say. We're going to take a break now. Steve Kramer's fishing report, Chuck Devine's ski report coming up at the 1:45, and Dr. Alex Apostle today, and Radio Real Estate with Don Pinnell, 8:45. Local news to pass along right after this break on Daybreak.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
I'm Ari Wolf with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Robert Griffin III is going to Cleveland. RG3 yesterday signed a 2-year deal with the Browns. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reports the contract is worth $15 million, but could reach $22 million with incentives. Griffin did not play a single down with the Redskins in 2015. In other QB news, North Dakota State's Carson Wentz held his pro day yesterday. The only NFL coach in attendance, Hugh Jackson of the aforementioned Browns, who hold the number 2 overall pick. What will the Browns do at number 2? Tune into Path to the Draft to get the latest on the Browns and all 32 teams' draft plans. Path to the Draft Monday through Friday at 6, live on NFL Network. And we're just over a month away from the 2016 NFL Draft presented by Verizon. Who will go number 1 and who will trade up? And who will land the sleeper of the bunch? It's all going down Thursday, April 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern, live on NFL Network. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
This Easter, surround yourself and your family with music and find savings up to 25% at Guitar Center's Spring Savings Event. Strike a chord with a limited edition Epiphone Les Paul or Yamaha acoustic guitar. Your choice, just $99. Add select 3-packs of D'Addario electric guitar strings, just $8.99. Create a masterpiece in your home studio with a Harbinger 5-channel mixer, just $39. Or sing it loud with a wireless vocal microphone, also just $39. Don't miss your chance to make music. This weekend only at Guitar Center.
Any Jane Doe can tell you that Geico could help you save. But since money talks, we just ask the savings instead.
Greetings and sun salutations. I'm Jane's Money, and I never knew my self-worth until Jane switched her car insurance at Geico.com. Those 15 minutes built me up to real savings. Geico's been helping customers save money like me for over 75 years. So take that to the bank. And namaste.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
All right, Daybreak. Good morning to you. 6:16 here. Jeff Slakey, Carol Gardner. Hello, Carol.
Hello, Jeff. How you doing today? It's Friday.
Casual Friday. I got my South Puget Sound Community College Clippers t-shirt on.
I see that.
You see that? If you're watching the video, go Clips. Alumni. No big deal.
It's always a big deal to the person.
No big deal.
You're right. You're not going to get any argument from me.
Did you ever go there? South Puget Sound?
No.
That's a nice campus. So I went in like high school and they did that running start thing, and that was a good opportunity to learn about the collegiate life, the community collegiate life. And then afterwards went down to Portland for some drum and stuff, and then came back and I went there. Made some nice, good friends, good teachers, and a nice small campus.
When did it start? Do you know when South Puget Sound was founded?
No, I don't. But I know that my mom worked there, I think, like in the late 80s on, what was the name of that thing? She had some special, the A-team. Oh. It was an accounting team.
1962.
So it's been around a long time.
It
that
has
new
been around.
Menard Performing Arts Center they've built up, oh my gosh. It is great. It's as good as in Thurston County as what we have in Mason County at the high school. It is an amazing facility. I saw a concert there one night. Woo! Sounded great.
It just wasn't on my radar when I got out of high school for some reason.
Do you remember if they had like a running start type of thing?
They did not in high school, no. So maybe that's why I wasn't really thinking about it.
Did you go right to four-year college?
Yeah.
At Wazoo, is that right?
Mm-hmm. I did.
17 here at iFIBER One News Radio. Somebody's a pretty happy person this morning. Officials say the winner of Washington State's $157 million Mega Millions lottery jackpot earlier this month has come forward to claim the prize. Michael Burkett had to come on down to Olympia. He bought the $5 ticket from a 7-Eleven in West Seattle. It's been unclaimed since March 8th. Chose to receive the winnings in a one-time cash payment option before taxes at $102.8 million.
Guess that'd be okay.
Official says once he realized he'd won, that's not a bad one. He bought a gaming computer, and he's going to get a new Tesla.
Okay, so I'm not trying to be judgmental, but the first thing he thinks about is a gaming computer. Does this say something about the age of the gentleman?
It could. Gaming computer. What would be the first thing I'd buy? I'd look at that. I'd look at a new computer.
Gaming.
I wouldn't call it a gaming.
Right, but the fact that he calls it a gaming computer.
Sure.
I just thought that was interesting.
I'm more on the story here. Should this guy's name be out there?
Well, he makes a decision to give the name. You can be anonymous or you can agree to have your name. So he agreed publicly, and now it's out.
Could get a little awkward at the old watering holes up in Seattle as Google is planning to move from the Fremont area of Seattle to new buildings right next to Amazon.
They're going to dig a tunnel underneath.
Partners. Vulcan Inc. said in a news release they'll develop the project in South Lake Union with eco-friendly buildings and landscaped open space along Mercer Street near I-5. Google will occupy 600,000 square feet of office space and be right next to their old good buddies there, Amazon, I'm sure, for sure. 6:19 now at iFIBER ONE News Radio, and a good morning to you. We have got some new information for you. You've heard about these laser beams being shot at the, what do they call it? Cockpits of helicopters and airplanes. It's so hard because you're way up there in the sky. Well, they actually caught a guy on this one. ABC has more.
On a nighttime helicopter patrol over a burglary scene, Dallas Police Senior Corporal Lucas Toronto saw the flash.
You see the laser coming straight to us. It filled up the entire cockpit.
Toronto radioed officers on the ground who arrested a man named Gabriel Gonzalez. He admits to shining his light into the sky.
I honestly thought they were just going to take the laser and be like, don't do it again. I didn't think I was going to get in this much trouble, you know?
The 22-year-old is in jail and facing serious federal charges. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
That's been in the news a long time.
A very long
time.
time.
People know that is a bad thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, why would you do it in the first place? What were you accomplishing? Yeah.
To shine the laser, to see how far the laser goes. I bet you that's what it was. I just want to see if it could hit
it. So you don't think of the consequences of your actions. Yeah, so well.
Did you hear him? He says, I didn't even think they would take it away from me.
Yeah. Obviously, he has not been paying attention to
you
the news.
You gotta watch out these lasers.
Mm-hmm.
You can do those lasers for cats, and they run around. Also works well for Kaisers.
He'll hold that over you when he gets older. Yeah, my dad is laser.
Listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
Mason General Hospital and family of clinics continues to receive national recognition for its exceptional quality of care. Most recently being presented with an award for overall excellence and quality by the National Organization of States Offices of Rural Health. In February, Mason General was recognized for being an acute stroke-ready hospital, complete with telemedicine technology. These two awards come at the heels of the hospital's diagnostic imaging department receiving the American College of Radiology's gold standard for its MRI and CT programs, and MGH Olympic Physicians being recognized as a patient-centered medical home model for its highly coordinated patient-centered care. For details, see the March issue of Scope.
Mason General Hospital and family of clinics. Equal opportunity provider. Translation services provided.
Mason General and family of clinics.
Look for the latest in local news at iFIBER1newsradio.com.
iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
Probably why I liked it. 6:22 at iFIBER ONE News Radio, and a good morning. We're just talking about Gary Shandling, who passed away yesterday. Trying to figure out the shows that he was on. Gary Shandling Show, and it always was confusing because then he was on a show called Larry Sanders, and it's similar sounding to Gary Shandling.
Right.
And then he has recently been on the silver screen as a senator in the Iron Man movies. He's one of the guys who's trying to rein in Tony Stark's power in the Iron Man movies. So you like Gary Shandling?
I did. I thought he was funny. He was different, but I thought he was very funny.
Yeah. He was, I like Gary Shandling. We'll have a report from ABC News on his passing, presumably out of nowhere. 623 at iFIBER One News Radio, and a good morning to you. I'm Jeff Slakey, along with Carol Gardner. A man transfixed Seattle and the internet by perching near the top of an 80-foot sequoia, declined to appear in court after being arrested on suspicion of malicious mischief. Judge found probable cause to detain 28-year-old Cody Lee Miller and rescheduled his bail hearing for this afternoon. No charges have been filed yet. Man climbed near the top of the conifer Tuesday, stayed for 25 hours, ignoring police efforts to coax him down, much of the time threw apples and branches at responders. A police probable cause statement made public yesterday says an urban forester with the city's transportation department pegged the damage to the tree about $7,800. Where do they come up with that number, you think?
Well,
how long it takes to grow a branch at the top of a tree? They have
probably.
models.
Yeah, I would imagine something
Somebody
like
sitting
that.
in Olympia crunching those numbers.
Not quite sure exactly. So, calling homelessness and affordable housing a major challenge across the country, U.S. Senator Maria Cantwell is urging Congress to expand a program that helps build more affordable housing. The Washington Democrat on Thursday pushed for an increase to the federal low-income housing tax credit. And she spoke at Patrick Police Apartments in Seattle. It's a 71-unit building built in 2014 to formerly homeless tenants. The senator was joined by mayors from Seattle, Everett, and Tacoma, and housing advocates. Supporters say the tax credit is most effective tool in getting affordable housing built in cities and states. The program has helped build nearly 3 million housing units nationwide since it was created 30 years ago. Housing is expensive.
We have Radio Real Estate today with Don Pinnell. We can talk a little bit more about housing costs. 625 now, cold case. Love these cold case stories. Seattle police say new DNA evidence has led to a man's arrest in a 1980 killing. It's 36 years ago. James Buss was found stabbed in his ransacked Belltown apartment. In 2002, detectives requested a DNA testing on some of the evidence seized. I don't know what's more amazing is that nowadays we have the technology to be able to find the DNA. You know, they have this stuff. Or that back in 1980, the cops said we should keep some of this stuff, thinking that in the future we could be able to test it all.
Well,
did they know that this stuff was coming down the pike?
I don't know if that's what their mindset was, but don't you, I mean, it seems like whenever police go and raid someplace, they take everything and then they go store it somewhere.
Maybe that's right. Maybe they do that. I mean, you're right. They do store a lot of stuff. But stuff even that could have trace evidence.
True.
626 at iFIBER One News Radio. When they did that DNA profile of the suspect was identified, they couldn't match it with anyone, but the department says late last year, detectives collected DNA from a person of interest in the case. Turned out to be a match. Police identified the suspect as 50-year-old Douglas Richard. He was 14 at the time of the killing. 626 here now at iFIBER One News Radio. Marilyn Foster has the latest news coming up in a couple of moments. And we have talked recently with Dr. Diana Yu about Zika virus. Well, now there is the potential for a do-it-yourself kit to check yourself. Here's more from ABC.
Malaria, West Nile virus, Zika. They're all carried by mosquitoes. And student researcher Barrett Moreau wondered what would happen if
you grind up a mosquito and you squish it through a filter, and then like the guts, the juice that drips out of the bottom of the syringe, you just put that in the tube.
The result is a handheld device that he and his team at the University of Texas call RIPB that can detect all sorts of mosquito-borne bacteria within an hour. The only problem, of course, is catching an insect that might carry a dangerous disease. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
You can't solve all the problems at the same time.
Catching the insect. Interesting. So can they test each insect then, I wonder, to see if it has the disease? Nah, not this one, then they get the next one.
Have to find another one. What do they go to, a mosquito
put out some water
holding facility where they all sleep at night or something? I don't know.
I don't know.
Marilyn Foster has the latest in local news coming up. The caucuses, caucuses are tomorrow, 10 o'clock in the morning. It's important to express your civic duties if that's what your deal is for the Democrats. But there is about a gazillion things going on this weekend. Today's Good Friday, so we'll have a report on that, what Good Friday means and all that stuff. Easter is Sunday. So there's Easter egg hunts all across the place. Saturday and mostly all on Saturday. And they all seem to start at 11. So the caucuses are at 10. There's a lot of Easter egg hunts at 11. And you can go to wa-democrats.org to find your caucus location. If you can't make it, if you can make it, they also encourage you to print out, pre-register, basically. You print out your form so you can walk in there and say you got it. Otherwise, you'll be in line. These lines are huge these days. Although I did see that there's been about 12 million votes cast in the Democratic Party, 14 million in the Republican Party, 100 million non-votes. So apathy still reigns supreme around these parts. 6:30 at iFIBER ONE News Radio. That's again tomorrow morning at 10. The Republicans, you guys will get your chance in the voting of the primary in a couple of weeks. 6:30 now. We'll be right back after this with Mary Lynn Foster and the latest in local news.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
Local news is brought to you by Fred Holmes Tree Service. FredHolmesTreeService.com, 427-4489.
From the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, I'm Mary Lynn Foster. The Washington State Democratic Party caucuses are tomorrow at 10 a.m. Hillary Clinton is maintaining a 300-delegate lead over Bernie Sanders after Tuesday night's contests. There are 118 Democratic delegates at stake in Washington, with 101 to be awarded proportionally based on the results of the caucuses. The remaining 17 are superdelegates or party leaders who can back any candidate they wish. Anyone who will be 18 by November 8th, 2016, and affirms they're a Democrat on caucus day is eligible to participate. Find your caucus location and pre-register online at demcaucus.com. Mason County Commissioners directed Human Resources staff to check references and backgrounds on 2 finalists for the new county management position of Community Services Director. The person the commissioners appoint would supervise community development and health department finances, planning, and permit assistance. The new director would also oversee the environmental health and the community family health departments. County Commissioner Terry Jeffries said the commissioners could vote on filling the position at the April 5th regular meeting or during a special meeting scheduled before then if possible. The Washington State Department of Corrections is looking for a new IT chief. Ira Foyer, who was in charge of the department's information technology for about a year, has resigned. His departure isn't part of any disciplinary action taken at the department as a result of the improper early release of thousands of prisoners in Washington. Foyer told investigators about the programming problem that caused the releases and took steps to get it resolved. During this week's Port of Call on Daybreak, Commissioner Dick Taylor talked about this June's Cascadia Rising earthquake drill that's going to be happening at Sanderson Field. He said at least 500 service members will be coming in and staying on the old fairground property.
I just spent, 2 days in a planning conference. This thing is the largest exercise in the Northwest.
Wow.
It's going to be, there are 3 states involved plus Canada. That's Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Canada are all involved in it. It's going to include players from the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, the Marines, and of course the Washington National Guard, civilian agencies down to county agencies. Of course, Sheriff's Office, emergency planning guys, all that kind of stuff is going to be involved. Hundreds of people. And right here on Sanderson Field.
All of the service members will be bringing everything they would need to stage and react to a large earthquake in this area. You can find more information on Cascadia Rising on iFiberOneNewsRadio.com. For iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3. I'm Mary Lynn Foster.
Is your family doing some growing? Whether it's an expansion of your home or the addition of a new family car, Peninsula Credit Union can provide fast, friendly service with terrific rates. We offer personal lines of credit, affordable auto loans, and a variety of home loan options to get you moving. Visit our offices in Shelton, Belfair, Paulsbo, Port Orchard, and Port Townsend, or go online to pcfcu.org. At Peninsula Credit Union, our priority is you.
Blowouts and top seeds dominated the first day of regional semifinals in the NCAA tournament. Hi, everybody. Todd Ant reporting on sports. In the West, it was duck soup for Duke. Top seed Oregon eliminated the Blue Devils 82-68. Ducks guard Jordan Bell.
We played one of our best games this year. I think we showed everybody we're a great team.
Oklahoma blew out Texas A&M 77-63. Sooners coach Lon Kruger.
Guys came in off the bench, did a terrific job. So proud for the guys. Happy for them, and know the next one's going to be tough, too.
So it's Oklahoma and Oregon in the West Regional Finals. Villanova eliminated Miami with a convincing 92-69 victory in the South. Nova coach Jay Wright.
We have a saying, shoot them up, sleep in the streets. You know, we want the guys to start aggressively.
Villanova takes on Kansas for a shot at the Final Four Saturday after the Jayhawks defeated Maryland 79-63.
I thought the second half we defended, we rebounded, we ran good offense for the most part, but it was a good team effort.
Kansas coach Bill Self. The Sweet 16 continues tonight with games in the Midwest and East regionals. In the NBA, crazy finish in Brooklyn. LeBron James scored 30 points after 3 quarters, then disappeared while the Nets kept scoring.
Taking the run by Sloan. Ahead to Bogdanovich with James lurking, and he's able to score on a lay-in.
On WFAN, Brooklyn knocks off the Cavaliers 104-95. Kevin Durant, 20 points to help Oklahoma City beat Utah for its 6th straight victory.
KD across the timeline with 2. Pulls up, pops. Leaning angle right 3. The buzzer drop! Ka-ching, a Thunder money ball. KD rakes it up. He's got 20 for the 57th consecutive game, a career high.
On WWLS, OKC wins 113-91. And in Los Angeles, Chris Paul inbounded the ball to J.J. Redick with 1.1 left on the clock.
J.J. has it. Fires in time for the win. The Clippers win!
On Prime Ticket, the Clippers nipped the Trailblazers 96-94. NFL news, quarterback Robert Griffin III found a new home in Cleveland, signing a 2-year deal with the Browns. Todd Ant, ABC Sports.
The taste of victory is sweet.
The Gonzaga Bulldogs are headed to the Sweet 16.
But there's still work to be done.
Wilcher step back 3 from the left side. Oh, McClellan, two-handed throw down. All the way to the rim. It's reverses. Good at the buzzer.
Tune in Friday as Gonzaga battles Syracuse in the Sweet 16.
Spitting, and scoring.
They are making it look easy. Tip-off is set for 6:40 on the Toyota Gonzaga IMG Sports Network. Gonzaga Hughes.
Now, from the all-new Gillis Auto Center Sports Desk, here's Jeff Slakey.
Dylan Brooks, 22 points. Whack, whack. Oregon Ducks advancing to the Elite Eight and are on the brink of its first Final Four in 77 years, beating the last national champions, the defending national champions, those Duke Blue Devils, 82-68. Villanova, Oklahoma, Kansas also won. Wow. Good job, Oregon. Wish I would have had that foresight when we picked you to lose in the first round to the Cinderella, not so Cinderella, Holy Cross. UW Husky women's team is in the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2001. They play Kentucky at 4. Tonight, Gonzaga basketball on the radio. They're taking on the Orange at 6:40. Pregame at 6:20. Other games today, Virginia, Iowa State, Wisconsin, Notre Dame, and North Carolina, Indiana, who we have picked to go and win the whole darn thing. But they got to get past good old North Carolina today, so we'll see what happens as well. Nelson Cruz busted out of a slump. Mariners, 10-8 victory of the Rockies yesterday. Our next Mariners game will be tomorrow on iFIBER ONE Newsradio because we have Gonzaga tonight. And the Seattle Sounders have signed former U.S. national team forward Herculez Gomez, looking to jumpstart the club after losing the first 3 matches to start the MLS season. 33-year-old has been training with Seattle. Sounders decided to add another vet to the roster. Also, email in from Jim Judson, athletic director at Shelton High School. The Capital at Shelton girls tennis match is rescheduled for today after some rains this past week. 6:38. Speaking of those showers, here's Carol Gardner looking at the forecast.
Good morning. It's partly cloudy, and there might be a few showers early, but today will turn out to be a nice, dry afternoon with some sunshine. Highs will be in the mid-50s. Tomorrow, cloudy, slightly warmer, highs in the upper 50s, and Sunday, a new system rolls in with scattered showers through the day. Looking ahead, by Tuesday or Wednesday, it is looking dry and warmer, temps in the 60s, and for the full forecast, check out the weather tab on iFIBER1Newsradio.com. Right now, it's about 42 in Shelton.
Now, from the iFIBER One News Radio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You. From business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor. Your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
6:39 on a Friday morning. Good morning to you. I'm Jeff Slakey along with Carol Gardner here on this Friday. Good morning to you. How was your, it was kind of a nice morning here.
Mm-hmm.
Great show for you today coming up. Streaming audio, video on iFIBER1Newsradio.com, on Twitter at iFIBER1Radio, and Facebook at facebook.com/1030KMAS. Steve Kramer's fishing report coming up, along with Chuck Devine's ski report in just a couple of moments here at the quarter of the hour. Shelton School Superintendent Dr. Alex Apostle is on at 8:15, and Radio Real Estate today with Don Pinnell at 8:45. Also, the deadline to remove studded tires, Carol's coming up, and razor clams continues to be the big story over this weekend if you're heading out to the ocean. And ABC News has some updates for us on other stories happening around, including entertainment stories like the passing of Gary Shandling. Today is Friday. That means new movies are out, and I think Batman v Superman. Ben Affleck is saying, you told me, he said...
It's not for the critics. It's a movie not for the critics.
Well, right there, you're just trolling the critics, aren't you? I mean, isn't that what's going to get the critics' ire up anyway?
I don't know, but we could check it out and see what he has to say later.
I think that's a great idea. I still am very excited for this Batman v Superman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you just go in.
Get entertained.
Suspend reality for a little bit.
Or maybe that's the reality.
Oh,
to Daybreak.
It's like the Matrix all of a
News
sudden.
Radio.
Say, what's for lunch? Breakfast. No, what's for lunch? Oh, yeah, breakfast. Breakfast for lunch? Yep. Then what's for dinner? Breakfast is. I thought you said breakfast was for lunch. Oh, I totally did. But now you're saying breakfast is for dinner. Oh, yeah, I am. So, wait, is lunch for breakfast? No, breakfast is for breakfast. With McDonald's all-day breakfast menu, which includes the Egg McMuffin, hot cakes, and hash browns, anytime is delicious breakfast time. Man, I'm heading to McDonald's. Have a good afternoon. Don't you mean good morning? I do now.
McDonald's all-day breakfast menu varies by location.
Introducing McDonald's Signature Crafted Recipes. We're talking bold sandwiches featuring authentic ingredients.
What?
You know it, like the guacamole made with Haas avocados in the Pico guacamole recipe.
Wow.
Barbecue sauce made with Vidalia onions in the sweet barbecue bacon recipe.
Nice.
And bacon with maple seasoning in the maple bacon Dijon recipe.
Amazing.
Try them on chicken or beef.
I want to try them all.
It's a new way to enjoy McDonald's. Create your signature crafted sandwich today at participating McDonald's.
It's hard to watch a tree die with no visible cause. What's under the ground may be the culprit. Hi, I'm Jody Henke. A tree can be choked by its own roots as you're living the country life.
Living the country life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic and from previous shows by visiting us online at livingthecountrylife.com. We'll return to the show after these messages.
Are you sitting on a working prototype of agriculture's next big idea, but uncertain how to proceed? Enter your invention in the Innovation Showcase Contest at agriculture.com/innovation. 2 contest winners will have the opportunity to be featured in Successful Farming magazine. Each will receive a 1-day consultation with Thunder Creek Equipment, and their inventions will be showcased at a national agricultural trade show. The winners will also be awarded a $3,000 check. No purchase necessary, open to legal residents of the 50 United States and D.C., 21 years and older who are active farmers or an active farmer's spouse or farm family member. Begins March 1st, 2016. Ends 11:59 p.m. June 13th, 2016. Subject to official rules at agriculture.com/innovation rules. Void where prohibited. Sponsor, Mayor of Corporation. Take your invention to the next level and enter today in the Innovation Showcase Contest at agriculture.com/innovation.
Several years ago, we noticed one of our maple trees didn't leaf out in the spring. It just suddenly died. A tree expert told us it died because of girdling root syndrome. Gary Johnson is a professor of urban forestry at the University of Minnesota. He says this happens when root growth constricts the stem tissue and cuts off the flow of water and nutrients. As you plant a new tree, pay special attention to where the roots are.
Just by making sure that those first main roots, whether they're in the soil ball or a container soil or if it's bare rooted, are right at the soil surface, just like they are in nature. And then you can lightly cover them with mulch. If the roots are just right near the soil surface or barely under it, that means the stem is going to be well above ground, and the likelihood of roots compressing, growing around, growing up against the stem is pretty remote.
Don't pile mulch halfway up the tree. Johnson says you'll bury the tree too deeply when the mulch breaks down and becomes soil. The roots will grow in it and start girdling the stem. An established tree should have a flare at the bottom of the trunk. If there is no flare and it looks like someone buried a utility pole, it was probably planted too deep and may have girdled roots under the surface. Johnson says a real easy way to check is with your wet-dry vacuum.
I'll just physically loosen up the soil near the base of the tree, right alongside the stem. Just loosen it up with a trowel or something, or you can soak it with water, and then suck it out with a wet dry vacuum until you get down to that first main root. And if there are any stem girdling roots as you go along, you can cut them. Just get rid of them at that point.
If the roots are tightly wound, it's too late for that tree. Learn more about girdling root syndrome at livingthecountrylife.com. I'll see you in the country.
Living the country life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic, share your tips, and post photos by visiting us online.
This is Steve Kramer from Kramer Tackle with this week's fishing report. Most of the rivers are punched out. A few are still in shape, but steelhead season is starting to wind down. If you need to catch a steelhead, I'd probably concentrate my efforts on the Cowlitz River or the Wainuchi. Both have been pulling some pretty good fish lately. Myself, I'm starting to get geared up for bass season. It's right around the corner. You could go out to Chambers Lake or possibly Spencer Lake in the Cove and concentrate on the edges of some of the docks and probably find a couple nice largemouths right now. I know of a 7.2 that came out of Long Lake last week, and I know of a mid-6 that came out of Lake Lawrence, both on white spinnerbaits. So it's time to start gearing up for that. If you want some trout, you can hit a few of the local lakes that have been stocked. Offutt Lake in Olympia was stocked with 900 oversized cutthroat. They're very pretty fish and super aggressive. So if you can, please take a kid fishing and make sure you check out the recreations page at iFIBER1.com. And don't forget my site, KramerTackleandGuide.com. This has been Steve Kramer. Thanks for listening and good fishing.
I'm Chuck Devine for News Radio 1030 and FM 103.3. We have another powder day. Big snow this time around. Summit at Snoqualmie Central and Albental picked up 5 inches of fresh snow, and so did Crystal Mountain. Some of these spots picked up more than a foot of fresh snow this week, so plenty of powder skiing for those spots. Crystal Mountain's Junior Regional Freestyle Competition is Saturday. They have a Spring Fling Demo Day, too, so you can test drive some of the latest equipment. A sunrise service and Easter egg hunt for Crystal on Sunday. Mission Ridge runs all their lifts with 43 Groom Pack powder slopes. Stevens Pass just got 10 inches of fresh snow, so you'll be knee-deep in it. Spring powder, it feels great, and the Groom trails are like a soft, quiet corduroy carpet. They're 100% with 50-pack powder trails. Mount Bachelor, Oregon on 88 slopes. Mount Hood Meadows just picked up 8 inches of fresh snow. Summit at Snoqualmie East and West back Saturday with fresh, untouched powder. I'm Chuck Devine for News Radio 1030 and FM 103.3.
iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
No, there's mail all over the place in the roads. You know, every so often you wake up, there's mail everywhere.
There's mail everywhere. Good morning. I'm Carol Gardner along with Jeff Slakey on Daybreak, 647. News at the top of the hour at 7 o'clock. And it's Friday.
Yeah.
Today's the big day for BVS, or Batman versus Superman.
BVS.
Yes, that's what they're all calling it.
Who's that?
Oh, the media. It's all on, it's everywhere. So anyways, we've heard the people that got to see it first before the public have been giving it not the best reviews.
Not the best reviews.
Not the best reviews. So Ben Affleck was on The Tonight Show last night, and he was talking about his new movie, Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice. And he said the movie is geared to fans, not critics. And what does he have to say?
Well, it must be exciting, and you're getting critical praise as well. Richard Roper in the Chicago Sun-Times said there's not a moment when you don't believe Affleck is Bruce Wayne. Comicbook.com, where you go, wait, they said Affleck is the greatest on-screen Batman.
So don't think... Not too sad, please. Not bad. Don't scare people into thinking this is a critical film. We're not going to the film critics circle. It's an audience movie.
Yeah.
People actually like this movie.
So those were a couple of positive reviews on Affleck as Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Conspicuously absent, however, were reviews of the movie overall. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that is true. But, whenever somebody, the critics are all doing it with their own opinion.
Sure.
That's
the thing. Yeah.
That's the thing. So everybody goes to the movie and you decide for yourself if you like it or not. And if you want to spend all that money and
Do you
go.
think the critics are overly negative to get the attention? Their own personal Twitter followers, to get more personal Twitter followers. Because, you could be a real nice guy. Oh, this is the best movie ever. Oh, it's such a wonderful movie and they're so good. The script is so wonderful. Or you get someone that comes in there and goes, Bob Keane, I think is the guy who created Batman. Bob Keane would be rolling in his grave because of this Batman, whatever. You think the negativity plays more and that's why more critics? It always seems like there's very few positive reviews.
Well, people seem to love negativity for some reason. But for me, the review has to have substance in it before I even really pay attention.
Do you care who's that guy with the big mustache? Gene Shalit was his name. Do you remember him?
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean anything to you?
Not really, because I agree with some and I don't agree with others. I agree with you on some movies and not some movies. Even with your family members. Some movies you like, some movies you don't.
We don't agree on some movies? Huh. I think this one's going to be good. The previews I've seen.
Yeah, just have to wait and go see it. And if you don't fall asleep.
It's 3 hours, 2.5.
Yeah, you might have to take a cinema break and come back.
They had that in the Hateful Eight. They had an intermission.
Mm-hmm.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
Have tulips bloomed yet in your part of the country? While we keep a keen eye out, some interesting tulip facts today from the Old Farmer's Almanac. With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac radio report for Friday, March 25th. Good Friday is the 85th day of the year. Elton John celebrates his 69th birthday, and RCA began mass production of the first color TV sets on this day in 1954. Here's some fun facts about springtime's earliest perennials, tulips. We associate them with Holland, which exports most of the modern world's tulip supply, but tulips were first cultivated by the Turks of the Ottoman Empire. The word tulip, in fact, is often traced back to a Persian word for turban. In the language of flowers, red tulips signify a declaration of love, while others indicate imagination or dreaminess. And if you're ever without an onion, a tulip bulb is said to make a good substitute when cooking. That is the Old Farmer's Almanac radio report. Learn more about the meaning of flowers at almanac.com.
iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
I was watching Hardball. It's Chris Matthews. Take that with whatever. Dikembe Mutombo was on the show yesterday. Former NBA Hall of Famer Dikembe Mutombo was on Hardball with Chris Matthews. He was in the Brussels airport when the bombs went off.
Wow.
Former NBA star was connecting in Brussels on his way home from a humanitarian trip, and he was there, and it was interesting to hear. It's just, regardless of him being a star, celebrity, sports star, those in the building stories are just amazing, harrowing. Seeing some of those videos and pictures of folks, my goodness. More news from ABC on the tragedy in Brussels coming up at 7 o'clock. Mary Lynn Foster has the latest in local news as well. March 31st is coming up quickly, Carol. It is next Thursday, week from yesterday. And the DOT is reminding drivers that studded tires must be removed by the last day in March. If you don't, $124 fine potentially. Studs can wear down pavement. You can find more information on the full press release at iFIBER1newsradio.com. Normally, you can hear those studded tires driving up and down the roads. And I haven't heard them really this year. I mean, we had such a mild winter. There was no real need for
Down
them.
here, yeah.
Down here. I mean, if you're traveling over the mountains all the time. 30-foot tall lighthouse coming to the Hands-On Children's Museum in Olympia, courtesy of the Olympia Master Builders. The Lookout exhibit opening late spring in the museum's Outdoor Discovery Center. Well, that's kind of cool. Lighthouse. You ever been in a lighthouse?
I have been in a lighthouse.
All the way to the top. Was it on? Do you remember?
Yes, it was on. It was the North Head Lighthouse, south part of Long Beach.
Oh, way down there.
Yeah, some friends and I were camping at Long Beach. My parents had property there at one time, and we were just being young and stupid, and we were walking around, and we saw the door was open.
The best starts of the story. We were young and stupid.
Well, the door was open, and there's like a caretaker that takes care of it, but for some reason the door was open.
And was it daytime, nighttime?
Daytime, and I saw it as an opportunity to go see what the inside of a lighthouse looks like.
Sure.
So out of 4 of us, only one other one ran up the stairs with me. The rest were sort of nervous about the whole deal.
Well, I mean, you get up to the top of the lighthouse, and then Old Man Winter, the scary caretaker, comes in. It wasn't for you kids meddling, and you're stuck at the top now. What are you going to do? Jump off?
We didn't see anybody around, but it was great. It's circular stairs all the way to the top, and then the view, of course, is awesome, and the glass windows. And
beautiful.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
So that's going to be at the Hands-On Children's Museum. Great place to spend some time there.
And you take Kaiser there, and
there all the time.
He's been some hands-on.
Yeah, we have a good time down there. When we head down, we actually even went on the weekends, and I thought it was going to be really busy, but it wasn't. It was quite pleasant. 6:56 at iFIBER One News Radio.
Yeah, so, we speak about Kaiser a lot.
Sure we do.
And
actually, can I stop you for a second? What a proud father I was yesterday to peruse through the Journal, the Shelton Mesa County Journal. Picture of him and Stephanie working on their empty bowls.
Oh, there you go.
What?
I know, it's cool. Celebrity in the making.
All right, go ahead.
So, as Kaiser gets older and you're the father, would you be proud when he comes home and goes, "Hey, I just got a job as an intern traveling around the world this summer drinking beer"?
Is the travel paid? Is it a paid internship?
No, it's an intern. As far as I know, interns aren't paid. Maybe there's
some, maybe.
Some, but
how do you get to these places? Because this sounds like just something you could do
by yourself, right? Oh, wait, okay. The interns do get paid $12,000 in addition to covering travel expenses, food and lodging.
Yes.
So you'd be a proud father when Kaiser came home and goes, "I'm going to go drink beer for the next 3 months, travel the world."
As long as he's doing it in a responsible fashion and he's 21, or whatever.
Do those go together?
Or whatever it is in the country that he's in, sure, why not?
Yeah. So, too bad you can't apply for it. Well, I think you're too old now to apply for it. Yeah. So the Drink It intern job description is from the World of Beer, which is based in Tampa, Florida, and it says, "Want to spend your summer traveling the country, drinking beer, meeting brewers, and diving into the beer culture."
Oh, and you can be any age. Anybody listening to try something new. You're 21 or older, U.S. citizen, and authorized to work in the country. Apply online. Deadline is tomorrow. We'll put Can we post a link somewhere?
Yeah, we can post a link somewhere.
On our Daybreak page.
So they've had an overwhelming response.
Well, they have those drinking interns. They have these guys that go and do travel. They look at the hotels across the world.
But this is a little different. Who wouldn't apply for this job?
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
NBC Radio. Power companies are always in search of renewable energy sources that will lower the nation's demand for fossil fuels and hopefully save some money. Think wind turbines, solar panels, hydroelectric power, or geothermal heat. But a new energy source being developed by North Carolina-based Duke Energy, one of the nation's biggest power providers, is unlike anything you've ever imagined. It's poop, specifically pig and chicken poop. The idea is to harness the methane gas that comes off the pig and chicken waste, refine it, deliver it to plants, and produce enough electricity to power 10,000 homes every year. The idea stems from a nearly decade-old state law requiring utilities to get 1/8 of their power from renewable sources. And there's more good news. There's plenty of poop to go around. North Carolina is home to 2,000 pork farms, the second most in the nation. And think about how happy those farmers will be to sell that poop. Tom Busby, CNBC.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
A Napa guy knows the good thing about an old truck is you can treat it like an old truck. Meaning, however you want. Because the paint job looks best covered in mud. Dents build character, and unpaved roads are unscientifically proven to be 70% more fun. And with over 400,000 parts and a little Napa know-how, you can keep that thing running longer, stronger. Because it's not old, it's broken in. That's Napa know-how.
Alex Jones and InfoWars on from 6 to 9 weekdays on iFIBER ONE Newsradio, AM 1030 and FM 103.3 KMAS Shelton.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Karen Chase. At least 2 Americans were among those killed in the Brussels bombings this week. Secretary of State John Kerry confirmed the sad news at a news conference in the city, where he arrived this morning for security meetings with European leaders. ABC's Aaron Katersky is there.
Secretary of State John Kerry, on a quick stop here in Brussels, confirmed 2 Americans were killed in the attacks, but he declined to identify them.
We're going through the sad process of family notification at this point in time.
Those killed, Kerry said, posed no threat, wished no one harm, but were simply going about their lives. 2 Dutch citizens, siblings who had been living in New York, were also confirmed to be dead. Alex and Sasha Pinkowski were caught in the airport bombings as they waited for a flight home. Aaron Katersky, ABC News, Brussels.
Brussels authorities arrested 6 suspects in a series of raids that are ongoing at this hour. One has known ties to the suspected mastermind of the Paris terror attacks. The White House is confirming President Obama will brainstorm on the battle against ISIS with dozens of other world leaders at a meeting next week. ABC's Kenneth Moten has details.
President Obama will use the gathering of 50 world leaders here in Washington next week to talk ISIS. The president plans to convene a special session to discuss efforts to defeat the terror group, which has struck the U.S. and its allies. The counterterrorism meetings will come in the wake of ISIS attacks in Paris, San Bernardino, California, and now Brussels.
Christians are marking Good Friday in Jerusalem with a procession retracing the route believed to have been walked by Jesus to his crucifixion. Some of the faithful in the Philippines have been reenacting the suffering by being flogged. Gerber is voluntarily recalling 2 flavors of its Second Food organic baby food pouches because of concerns the food inside could be spoiled. The company blames a packaging defect that could compromise the product. Breaking up is hard to do, and in the case of Costco and Amex, customers will share the pain. Starting June 19th, American Express cards will no longer be accepted as payment at Costco's. This is ABC News.
Prices are for base buildings only and may not be available in some areas.
This is an alert. If your business or church is building this year, you're about to pay more than you should. This could mean thousands of dollars more for your office, retail space, church, or warehouse. So call General Steel now for the quality and the price in a pre-engineered steel building that you just can't beat. That's right, General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How much can you save? How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $35,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first. Call 888-98-STEEL today and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. Don't let rising steel prices put your project in jeopardy. Call now to lock in your price for 3 months. Call 888-98-STEEL. That's 888-98-STEEL. Call today and save thousands. 888-98-STEEL. That's 888-987-8335.
More suspected cases of Zika are being investigated across the U.S., and now a team of researchers in Texas is working on a do-it-yourself home testing kit. ABC's Jim Ryan explains.
Malaria, West Nile virus, Zika. They're all carried by mosquitoes. And student researcher Barrett Moreau wondered what would happen if
you grind up a mosquito and you squish it through a filter, and then like the guts, the juice that drips out of the bottom of the syringe, you just put that in a tube.
The result is a handheld device that he and his team at the University of Texas call RIPB that can detect all sorts of mosquito-borne bacteria within an hour. The only problem, of course, is catching an insect that might carry a dangerous disease. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
5 more governing board members at Mount St. Mary's University in Maryland have resigned following an outcry over the former president's comments comparing struggling freshmen to bunnies that should be drowned. The former president, Simon Newman, resigned after being widely scorned by academic leaders when a student newspaper reported his comments and the faculty voted for his resignation. Karen Chase, ABC News.
Local news is brought to you by Fred Holmes Tree Service. FredHolmesTreeService.com, 427-4489.
From the iFIBER ONE Newsradio studios, I'm Marilyn Foster. The Washington State Democratic Party caucuses are tomorrow at 10 a.m. Hillary Clinton is maintaining a 300-delegate lead over Bernie Sanders after Tuesday night's contests. There are 118 Democratic delegates at stake in Washington, with 101 to be awarded proportionally based on the results of the caucuses. The remaining 17 are superdelegates or party leaders who can back any candidate they wish. Anyone who will be 18 by November 8th, 2016, and affirms they're a Democrat on caucus day is eligible to participate. Find your caucus location and pre-register online at demcaucus.com. Mason County commissioners directed human resources staff to check references and backgrounds on 2 finalists for the new county management position of Community Services Director. The person the commissioners appoint would supervise community development and health department finances, planning, and permit assistance. The new director would also oversee the environmental health and the community family health departments. County Commissioner Terry Jeffries said the commissioners could vote on filling the position at the April 5th regular meeting or during a special meeting scheduled before then if possible. The Washington State Department of Corrections is looking for a new IT chief. Ira Foyer, who was in charge of the department's information technology for about a year, has resigned. His departure isn't part of any disciplinary action taken at the department as a result of the improper early release of thousands of prisoners in Washington. Foyer told investigators about the programming problem that caused the releases and took steps to get it resolved. During this week's Port of Call on Daybreak, Commissioner Dick Taylor talked about this June's Cascadia Rising earthquake drill that's going to be happening at Sanderson Field. He said at least 500 service members will be coming in and staying on the old fairground property.
I just spent, 2 days in a planning conference. This thing is the largest exercise in the Northwest.
Wow.
It's going to be, there are 3 states involved plus Canada. That's Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Canada are all involved in it. It's going to include players from the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, the Marines, and of course the Washington National Guard, civilian agencies down to county agencies. Of course, Sheriff's Office, emergency planning guys, all that kind of stuff is going to be involved. Hundreds of people. And right here on Sanderson Field.
All of the service members will be bringing everything they would need to stage and react to a large earthquake in this area. You can find more information on Cascadia Rising on iFIBER1newsradio.com. For iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3. I'm Mary Lynn Foster.
If you could wave a wand and change one thing about your house, what would it be?
Hold that thought, but forget the wand. Home improvement isn't magic.
If you're a do-it-yourselfer, we can show you the tricks of the trade for remodeling and repair.
And how to not get fooled when you're choosing and directing a contractor. Hi, I'm Tom Kreitler.
And I'm Leslie Segretti. Phone in your fix-up questions here this weekend.
On the Money Pit Home Improvement Radio Show.
Saturdays at 10, Sundays at 7 on iFIBER One News Radio.
Hi, I'm Ken Slater, the Roof Doctor. If you're like me, your family's important, so make sure that they're well taken care of. One of the best ways to do that is to provide a safe and warm home to live in. For over 50 years, the Roof Doctor has been helping families stay safe and warm by building roofs that last for generations. Our teams have some of the most experienced roofers in the area, and we only use the highest quality materials to keep your family safe, warm, and dry. That's the Roof Doctor. Give us a call.
Now, from the all-new Gillis Auto Center Sports Desk, here's Jeff Slakey.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. Friday, AM 1030, FM 103.3, 708. Lot of brackets got busted last night. Holy moly. Even though they were a number one seed, I don't know if many folks had the Oregon Ducks beating the Blue Devils. Well, they did, 82-68 yesterday. Dylan Brooks had 22. Oregon going to the Elite Eight. Could be headed to the Final Four for the first time in 77 years after defeating last year's national champion, Duke, in the West Region semifinals. Other winners, Villanova, Oklahoma, and Kansas. The UW Husky women's team is in the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2001. They play Kentucky in what is essentially a home game for Kentucky, in Kentucky, at 4 Kentucky time. Tonight we've got Gonzaga basketball on the radio taking on Syracuse at 6:40, pregame at 6:20. Other games today, Virginia, Iowa State, Wisconsin, Notre Dame, and North Carolina, Indiana, the Hoosiers, who we have winning the whole thing. Nelson Cruz busted out of a slump with a double and RBI single to help the hot-hitting Mariners to a 10-8 victory over the Rockies yesterday. Mariners have scored 22 runs in 2 games. Save some of those for the regular season. Am I right?
Yes. I mean, the Mariners have been not winning every game. And sometimes when they win every game, we're like, oh, the season's going to be awesome.
Yes.
And so, I'm okay with,
You're okay
feeling
with
it out.
runs?
Yeah, you're just sort of feeling it out and seeing who's who and what's what. And
Okay. I was listening to some of the clips from the game yesterday, and there's a lot of players that I have got to start getting familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know Asashi Iwakuma, Nelson Cruz, Robbie Cano, Felix Hernandez, Jesus Montero, Kyle Seager. Other than that, we'll get a chance to meet the Mariners all season long right here on iFIBER One News Radio. Capital at Shelton girls tennis match rescheduled for today after some rain this week. And looking into this weekend, how's the forecast, Carol?
Well, it's partly cloudy this morning, and there might be a few showers early. But today will turn out to be a nice day. A nice dry afternoon with some sunshine. Highs will be in the mid-50s. Tomorrow, cloudy, slightly warmer. Highs in the upper 50s. And Sunday for Easter, a new system rolls in with scattered showers throughout the day. But looking ahead, by Tuesday or Wednesday, it's looking drier and warmer. Temps in the 60s. And for the full forecast, check out the weather tab on iFIBER One Newsradio.com. Right now in the South Sound region, it's in the low 40s.
Now, from the iFIBER One News Radio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You. From business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor. Your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
Good morning. I'm Carol Gardner along with Jeff Slakey. Good morning, Jeff.
Morning.
We got a great show for you today on Daybreak. We are streaming audio and video this morning on iFIBER1Newsradio.com and also on Twitter at iFIBER Radio and Facebook at Facebook.com 1030 KMAS. And we also have some great guests today. We're going to have the Steve Kramer Fishing Report coming up, along with Chuck Devine's Ski Report. Shelton School Superintendent Dr. Alex Apostle comes in for his weekly update on what's happening. He's going to be on in about an hour. And riveting radio real estate with Don Pinnell about the end of the 8 o'clock hour.
Oh, that's exciting. I'll be interested to hear how things are going here in the housing market. Seeing some homes around my area that are up for sale, quickly come back down and sold. One house in our neighborhood sold after just 6 days.
So you mean it was set at a higher price, and as soon as they lowered it, it was gone?
No, I have not. I don't.
Quick, the sign went up and the sign came down. That's what you're talking about.
The sign went up, and I looked at the price on the internet, and I was surprised by it. And then 6 days later, the guy said it was sold. I don't know what the final price was.
And you don't know if he moved in something bigger or smaller? Or...
he moved down to the Capitol.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
Don't let those medical marijuana costs go up in smoke. I'm ABC's Richard Davies with today's tax tip. 23 states, as well as the District of Columbia, have legalized medical marijuana, but don't expect to use it as a write-off on your federal tax return because the government still recognizes the drug as illegal. Tom Wheelwright is founder of the CPA firm Provision.
When federal law gets to the point where it's not illegal federally, because it's just states that have it legal. Once Washington decides that it's going to be legal, then at that point it might be deductible, but right now it's not.
What about state tax returns? Bob Meehan is vice president of TurboTax.
As the name suggests, and I assume people are using it for medicinal reasons, it may qualify as a deduction under the medical expense area.
Medical marijuana is a murky tax topic. It's handled on a state-by-state basis. If you live in one of those states that permits medicinal use, you'll want to check, and you'll want to hold on to your receipts. With today's tax tip, Richard Davies, ABC News.
It's true. Many of us spend more time thinking about what's for dinner than preparing for retirement. But if you think your retirement needs deserve more attention, I agree. And I'd like to help. I'm Edward Jones financial advisor, Karen Shade. Together, we can give your long-term retirement strategy the attention it deserves. Stop by our office at 1051 Southeast State Route 3 in Shelton.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Hi, this is Terry Allen with a look at the community calendar on iFIBER One News Radio. Nonprofits post your upcoming events on iFiberOneNewsRadio.com. Registration for Olympic College Shelton is underway for continuing and returning students for spring quarter. Students need to check their time to register on the Olympic College Oasis site. Call 432-5400 for more information. For iFIBER One News Radio, I'm Terry Allen.
iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
Hello and good morning. I'm Carol Gardner along with Jeff Slakey. Good morning, Jeff.
Morning.
We're on Daybreak, AM 1030 and FM 103.3, streaming on iFiberOneNewsRadio.com, Twitter, iFIBER One Radio, and at Facebook, facebook.com, 1030 KMAS. It's about 7:15, and Marilyn Foster is more local news about 7:30. Coming up.
Authorities are investigating after a dog was found assaulted and hanged to death from a tree in Thurston County. Thurston County Animal Service Officer Erica Johnson says a mountain biker discovered a pit bull hanging from a tree on the Department of Natural Resources land on Monday. Perpetrators, this is a terrible story. There's a $10,000 reward. If you have any information, you can call 352-2510. It's all around the Facebook. I saw it trending on Facebook and Twitter this morning. And there are additional details to this story that I don't feel comfortable talking about this early in the morning. So needless to say, authorities are investigating a dog that was found dead. It was a pit bull. If you think you know anything or start to hear people talk about this, they want your help in figuring this one out.
And another sad story coming out of Thurston County is in two animal rescue organizations were working to care for 33 emaciated alpacas. And they were seized by the Thurston County Sheriff's Office, and they're asking for donations to help care for these creatures. They were seized last Friday near Mud Bay as part of an animal cruelty investigation. 4 alpacas, unfortunately, were dead at that time. And of the surviving 33, 2 are pregnant and 4 are babies. They're being cared for by a veterinarian and have been moved to several foster homes in the area. Cross Creek Alpaca Rescue and Hooved Animal Rescue of Thurston County are taking care of the alpacas throughout the investigation. Officials say the nonprofits the herd needs medical supplies and feed.
Good news for drivers who use the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. Transportation Commission voted to suspend a planned 50-cent toll bridge increase that was to start July 1. Bridge has to be paid with toll revenues as required by state law, but some monies from the legislature provided some relief with $2.5 million in the gas tax revenues, eliminating the need for that 50-cent increase. And if I believe it is just going from Gig Harbor to Tacoma, if you're going from Tacoma over towards like the Hood Canal area and stuff like that, that's what you don't pay on that side, but you pay on the other side. There's a really nice half marathon that I did back in the early aughts, the Sound City of Destiny half marathon. And you start at the Gig Harbor Airport, which is on the other side of the bridge, and you go over the bridge. So you're running over the Tacoma Narrows Bridge and then through beautiful parts of Tacoma and then end up right downtown at the Glass Museum. And I've done it a couple times. And both times, of course, when you're running over the bridge, it's kind of scary to look down as you're looking down and running. But then you look and you try to see glimpses. You never would, but see glimpses of the old bridge. You know, there's a supposed big octopus that lives underneath the old bridge.
Those are not things you should be thinking about as you're running across the bridge.
Well,
or maybe it makes you run faster.
No, I gotta have something to take my mind out of the
That's
pain
a great idea,
and drudgery of
Get
running.
yourself over that bridge.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried counting?
No. Counting my steps on the bridge?
Or just count? Yeah, just counting. Yeah, counting your steps.
No. Does that help?
It does.
Spring's arrival, the DOT reminding drivers studded tires must be removed by the last day of March. If you don't, you could get a fine of $124. The DOT says studs can wear down the pavement. For more information and the full press release, go to iFIBER1newsradio.com.
And diggers have a green light to dig razor clams starting today at Mocrox Beach. Officials say the marine toxin tests showed clams there are safe to eat. Long Beach is also currently open to digging through the end of March. The dig at Mocrox is scheduled for morning tides and ends at noon each day. And the dig at Long Beach will be switching from the evening to morning tides. And you can find all those details on the recreation page at iFIBER1newsradio.com.
7:20 here at iFiber One. We'll take a break in a moment, but first we have a report from ABC News. There is going to most likely, Carol, be quite a contentious Republican convention in Cleveland this year. We don't know who's going to get the delegates and if the delegates will actually be given out to the people who won the delegates. And there's a lot of behind the scenes people talking about this and that, the other thing. And I am not sure if this next news story from ABC will help this situation or not help this situation, but thousands have signed an online petition for open carry of firearms at this summer's GOP convention in Cleveland. ABC's Ryan Burrows has a little bit more.
The Change.org-based petition is calling for Quicken Loans Arena, where the Republican convention will be held in July, to lift its firearms ban. It claims Cleveland is one of the top 10 most dangerous cities in America, and there is the possibility of an ISIS terror attack. It calls on the NRA, RNC, and presidential candidates to push for open carry of guns at the potentially contested convention. Ohio is an open carry state, but Quicken Loans Arena is considered a gun-free zone. Ryan Burrow, ABC News.
So that's being bandied about, and you can see that petition on change.org. I mean, it's just going to be so contentious. We've already seen some violence going on.
What could go wrong?
What indeed?
And it's not even a good laugh that I'm laughing. It's in a, I don't know, shocked.
Yeah, it's an uncomfortable laugh.
Yeah.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFiber One News Radio. It's
time again for Fiddle Fest. State and national champs with a variety of old-time, Celtic, and bluegrass fiddling. 2 big shows Saturday, April 2nd at 1 and again at 6 at the Performing Arts Center at Shelton High School. Tickets are $10 at the door, $5 for students. Proceeds go to the Shelton Music Program and Youth Music Scholarships. For more information, go to sheltonfiddlefest.org. Brought to you by the Washington Old Time Fiddlers Association. iFIBER Communications, the fastest internet provider in Washington State, has just opened their doors here in Mason County and got their first local customers signed up. James, tell me about your experience.
From the first time I learned of iFIBER to the day I got hooked up, even now, I felt that my fiber connection and the service given to me have been the #1 most important job to every member of the iFIBER team. And not just because I was first in line with my nose pressed up to the glass waiting for a company to take my money.
What differences have you noticed?
I get what I pay for. With non-fiber solutions, you're paying up to the top and never get a constant number anywhere near that top. With fiber, you certainly do. With iFIBER, you get it at a competitive and affordable price.
Why should others sign up for iFIBER Internet?
Well, iFIBER has made a commitment to Mason County. They're working hard to bring fast speeds to everyone at an affordable price. And now with phones and television, your bill will be all in one place with no hidden fees or sudden price changes to surprise you month to month like other all-in-one service providers.
Get signed up for iFIBER Communications today by calling 360-427-4000 or visit iFIBER.tv for more information. Need a ride? Call 426-8294. Mason County Taxi, 426-8294. Anytime, anywhere. Call when you need a quick, affordable ride. 426-TAXI, 426-8294.
My name is Meera. Many families have come to America for a better life. I advocate for these families with United Way to make the community stronger. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
Welcome back to Daybreak. I'm Carol Gardner along with Jeff Slakey.
Morning.
Good morning. We're on AM 1030, FM 103.3. It's about 7:24 and low 40s still around the area. We're streaming this morning also audio and video on iFiber1newsradio.com. Mary Lynn Foster is coming up in a few minutes. And we've got a great guest today, Shelton School Superintendent Dr. Alex Apostle, in about 45 minutes.
Officials say the winner of Washington State's $157 million Mega Millions lottery jackpot earlier this month come forward to claim the prize. Michael Burkett, who just found out he has got about 3,000 new aunts and uncles. Presented the winning ticket Thursday.
They're coming out of the woodwork, you're saying?
This is in Olympia. Hey, Mike, remember me? Yeah. I changed your diapers that one time. Chose to receive the winnings in a one-time cash payout, $102 million, almost $103 million. Officials say once he realized he won, bought a gaming computer. Now he's got his eyes on one of those fancy new Tesla electric cars. Pretty cool stuff. Google planning to move from the Fremont area of Seattle to 4 new buildings next to Amazon. Vulcan Incorporated said in a news release they'll develop the project in South Lake Union with eco-friendly buildings and landscaped open spaces along Mercer Street near I-5. Google occupying over 600,000 square feet of office space, and they're going to look at developing some additional retail space and parking as well. Construction on the 6-story buildings will begin next year.
A man who transfixed Seattle and everybody else by perching near the top of an 80-foot sequoia tree in downtown Seattle declined to appear in court after being arrested on suspicion of malicious mischief. A judge found probable cause to detain the 28-year-old Cody Lee Miller and rescheduled his bail hearing for today. No charges have been filed. The man did climb near the top of a conifer on Tuesday, stayed for about 25 hours, ignored police efforts to coax him down, and he threw apples and tore off branches at the top of the tree.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so Urban Thursday Transportation Department pegged the damage to that tree about $7,800, and how they actually come up with that number, I'm not quite sure, but he did damage the tree.
Yeah. So there's something should happen there at least.
I agree.
7:27 here at iFIBER ONE News Radio. Police say a new DNA evidence has led to an arrest in a 1980 killing. James Buss found stabbed in his ransacked Belltown apartment back in 1980. In 2002, detectives requested a DNA test on some evidence seized, and they couldn't match the DNA. There was DNA. They did get the DNA, but at the time in 2002, they didn't have a match. Well, last year, detectives collected DNA from a person who they think maybe is a person of interest in the case, and it turns out to be a match. 50-year-old Douglas Richards, who was 14 at the time of the killing. iFIBER One News Radio time is 7:27, and the Rolling Stones. First it was the president, and now it's the Stones.
When the Rolling Stones end their Latin American tour in Havana tonight, they could be playing to 1 million Cubans. Hola, Cuba! The Stones taking advantage of the thawing relationship between Cuba and the U.S., offering the free concert. Cuba has had a long history with big musical acts. In 1979, Havana Jam with Billy Joel and Chris Christopherson. In 2005, Audioslave played a massive concert in Cuba. But none may be bigger than the Rolling Stones. Alex Stone, ABC News.
That could be quite a concert. 1 million Cubans to a free concert down there?
That would be awesome. I mean, if you were living down there, definitely. Even if you were here and you got a free concert of the Rolling Stones, I would totally think that would be great to go see.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of what is it? Chateau Saint Michel? Is that what they say? Chateau Saint Michel has announced their lineup for the year. Bob Dylan, Bonnie Raitt, Don Henley. Let's see, who else?
I'd go see Bonnie Raitt.
You would?
Yeah.
Why not? Don Henley, Dylan. Go see Dylan?
No, probably not.
Tears for Fears, Chicago.
I'd see Chicago.
I have it on good authority from sports director Sean Wells that Lyle Lovett is amazing in concert. He was just playing. Lyle was in Tacoma, and Sean went and saw him. He said it was a great 2.5-hour concert. Lyle Lovett and his large band, the Goo Goo Dolls. Whoa. Collective Soul, Earth, Wind and Fire, Culture Club, Boy George, Jackson Brown, Josh Groban, Steve Miller Band, Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, Chris Isaac, and Ray LaMontagne. You know who he is? He's good.
Yeah. All those people, huh?
Yeah.
This summer. Wow.
So
great lineup.
Chateau Saint Michel, if you go do those kind of things. 7:30 here now at iFIBER One News Radio. Mary Lynn Foster is the latest in local news coming up next. Looks like they're getting close to finding a person for that new county management position. I think it's down to 2. Mary Lynn Foster has the news on that one coming up next. All right, here on Daybreak.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
Local news is brought to you by Shelton Health and Rehabilitation Center. Find them online at sheltonhealthandrehab.com.
From the iFIBER One News Radio studios, I'm Mary Lynn Foster. The Washington State Democratic Party caucuses are tomorrow at 10 a.m. Hillary Clinton is maintaining a 300-delegate lead over Bernie Sanders after Tuesday night's contests. There are 118 Democratic delegates at stake in Washington, with 101 to be awarded proportionally based on the results of the caucuses. The remaining 17 are superdelegates or party leaders who can back any candidate they wish. Anyone who will be 18 by November 8th, 2016, and affirms they're a Democrat on caucus day is eligible to participate. Find your caucus location and pre-register online at demcaucus.com. Mason County Commissioners directed Human Resources staff to check references and backgrounds on 2 finalists for the new county management position of Community Services Director. The person the commissioners appoint would supervise community development and health department finances, planning, and permit assistance. The new director would also oversee the environmental health and the community family health departments. County Commissioner Terry Jeffries said the commissioners could vote on filling the position at the April 5th regular meeting or during a special meeting scheduled before then if possible. The Washington State Department of Corrections is looking for a new IT chief. Ira Foyer, who was in charge of the department's information technology for about a year, has resigned. His departure isn't part of any disciplinary action taken at the department as a result of the improper early release of thousands of prisoners in Washington. Foyer told investigators about the programming problem that caused the releases and took steps to get it resolved. During this week's Port of Call on Daybreak, Commissioner Dick Taylor talked about this June's Cascadia Rising earthquake drill that's going to be happening at Sanderson Field. He said at least 500 service members will be coming in and staying on the old fairground property.
I just spent, 2 days in a planning conference. This thing is the largest exercise in the Northwest.
Wow.
It's going to be, there are 3 states involved plus Canada. That's Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Canada are all involved in it. It's going to include players from the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, the Marines, and of course the Washington National Guard, civilian agencies down to county agencies. Of course, Sheriff's Office, emergency planning guys, all that kind of stuff is going to be involved. Hundreds of people. And right here on Sanderson Field.
All of the service members will be bringing everything they would need to stage and react to a large earthquake in this area. You can find more information on Cascadia Rising on iFIBER1newsradio.com. For iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Mary Lynn Foster.
This is Doug Sample from Whitney Chevrolet. Taxes are on everyone's mind. Make the most of your tax refund at Whitney Chevrolet in Montesano, where the sales tax is lower than most places in the state. Plus, other dealers' factory costs are more because they roll in the cost of the advertising. We don't do that, but we do offer lifetime oil changes on every new and used vehicle. Stop by or visit WhitneyChev.com.
A $150 negotiable document fee may be added to the price of all vehicles.
Worth the drive to Whitney's, just down the road to Whitney.
Blowouts and top seeds dominated the first day of regional semifinals in the NCAA tournament. Hi, everybody. Todd Ant reporting on sports. In the West, it was duck soup for Duke. Top seed Oregon eliminated the Blue Devils, 82-68. Ducks guard Jordan Bell.
We played one of our best games this year. Everybody, I think we showed everybody we're a great team.
Oklahoma blew out Texas A&M 77-63. Sooners coach Lon Kruger.
Guys came in off the bench, did a terrific job. So proud for the guys. Happy for them, and know the next one's going to be tough, too.
So it's Oklahoma and Oregon in the West Regional Finals. Villanova eliminated Miami with a convincing 92-69 victory in the South. Nova coach Jay Wright.
We have a saying, shoot them up, sleep in the streets. We want the guys to start aggressively.
Villanova takes on Kansas for a shot at the Final Four Saturday after the Jayhawks defeated Maryland 79-63.
I thought the second half we defended, we rebounded, we ran good offense for the most part, but it was a good team effort.
Kansas coach Bill Self. The Sweet 16 continues tonight with games in the Midwest and East regionals. In the NBA, crazy finish in Brooklyn. LeBron James scored 30 points after 3 quarters, then disappeared while the Nets kept scoring.
Taking the run by Sloan. Ahead to Bogdanovich with James lurking, and he's able to score on a lay-in.
On WFAN, Brooklyn knocks off the Cavaliers 104-95. Kevin Durant, 20 points to help Oklahoma City beat Utah for its 6th straight victory.
KD across the timeline with 2. Holds up, pops. Leaning angle right, 3. The buzzer drops! Cha-ching, a Thunder money ball. KD rings it up. He's got 20 for the 57th consecutive game, a career high.
On WWLS, OKC wins 113-91. And in Los Angeles, Chris Paul inbounded the ball to J.J. Redick with 1.1 left on the clock.
J.J. has it. Fires in time for the win. The Clippers win!
On Prime Ticket, the Clippers nipped the Trailblazers 96-94. NFL news, quarterback Robert Griffin III found a new home in Cleveland, signing a 2-year deal with the Browns. Todd Ant, ABC Sports.
Financial advice you can understand on the Dave Ramsey Show.
Personal finance is 80% behavior, 20% head knowledge. The reason you're in debt is behavior, not math. The way you get out of debt is behavior, change, not math. You can't borrow your way out of debt. How many times have you heard someone say, I had a whole bunch of credit card debt and I paid it off by getting a second mortgage? You didn't pay it off. You moved it. Hi, this is Dave Ramsey. Tune into my show weekdays from noon to 3 on iFIBER One News Radio.
Now, from the all-new Gillis Auto Center Sports Desk, here's Jeff Slakey.
Thank you. Good morning. 7:36 now at iFIBER One News Radio.
Congratulations to Oregon advancing to the Elite Eight. We just heard about that in ABC Sports. Husky women's team is in the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2001. They play Kentucky in Kentucky at 4 o'clock. Tonight we have Gonzaga basketball on the radio. They're taking on the Orange. Gonzaga is seeded number 11, Syracuse at number 10. Games at 6:40 tonight. Pregame at 6:20. The other games are the Virginia-Iowa State game, the Wisconsin-Notre Dame game, and the final game of the day after Gonzaga. No, wait. Gonzaga's at 6:40, and the Indiana game tips at 6:57, I believe. So that is happening concurrently. So they'll have scores of that throughout the Gonzaga game. We'll have it right here for you on iFIBER ONE News Radio. Nelson Cruz busted out of a slump with a double and an RBI single to help the hot-hitting Mariners 10-8. Big win over the Rockies yesterday. Mariners sounding good as we get closer and closer to the start of the regular season, Monday, April 4. They've scored 22 runs in 2 games, those Seattle Mariners. And the Capital at Shelton girls tennis match has been rescheduled for today because of some weather earlier in the week. And speaking of speaking of the weather, here's Carol.
Good morning. It's partly cloudy. There might be a few showers early, but today will turn out to be a nice dry afternoon with some sunshine. Highs will be in the mid-50s. Tomorrow, cloudy, slightly warmer, highs in the upper 50s. And Sunday, for your Easter events, a new system will roll in with scattered showers throughout the day. Looking ahead, by Tuesday or Wednesday, it's looking dry and warmer, temps in the 60s. And for the full forecast, check out the weather tab on iFIBER1newsradio.com. And right now, it's about 39 in Shelton.
Now, from the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You, from business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor. Your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
Good morning. I'm Carol Gardner along with Jeff Slakey.
Hello.
Good morning.
Happy Friday.
Yeah, happy Friday. We have,
Woo-hoo.
Yep. Woohoo. TGIF. We have a great show for you today on Daybreak, and we are streaming audio and video this morning on iFIBER1newsradio.com, on Twitter at iFIBER Radio, and on Facebook at facebook.com 1030 KMAS. We'll have the Steve Kramer's fishing report and the Chuck Devine ski report. They are still skiing up there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll have Shelton School Superintendent Dr. Alex Apostle in about a half an hour. And then at the end of the hour, riveting radio real estate with Don Pinnell. And also we have some more local news to share this morning. The lottery winners coming forward. Google moves next to Amazon. Latest on the man in the tree. A cold case has been solved, and a gargantuan has died at the Woodland Park Zoo.
7:39 now at iFIBER ONE News Radio, and a good morning to you as well. I'm Jeff Slakey. We're looking at the tournament that's going on. It kind of kicked back up last night as Oregon beat Duke. Today it's Gonzaga and the Syracuse Orange. That's going to be a great matchup, and Gonzaga potentially could see if Oregon beats Oklahoma and then Gonzaga moves on, we could see a Gonzaga-Oregon part of the Final Four. Wouldn't that be something else? It would be quite an exciting one. And you can follow along with the sports all throughout the day here on iFIBER ONE News Radio. And the game again tonight, 6:20, is when we have the pregame. Take a quick break. When we come back here on iFIBER ONE News Radio, as Carol mentioned, a skiing report and a fishing report. Still this hour, the Old Farmer's Almanac.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
Habitat for Humanity of Mason County invites you to shop their local retail stores in Belfair and in Shelton. At Habitat for Humanity stores, you'll find amazing bargains on discounted home improvement supplies, gently used furniture, and so much more. And when you shop Habitat for Humanity, your dollars are put to work helping to improve, build, and maintain affordable housing right here in Mason County. Habitat for Humanity. Let's build a strong community together. I'm with Scott Alsterberg, the sales manager at the all-new Gillis Auto Center, just off the City Center Matlock exit. Is that right?
That's where we are.
And it's the all-new Gillis Auto Center, and people always know of Gillis being a Ford dealer, but you've got a lot more new vehicles than just Ford.
We sure do. We're a full-line FCA dealer. That's the new name for Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram. We carry every model from both companies.
Cars and trucks?
Everything. SUVs, vans, everything you can think of. And we have a great selection of used as well.
Tell me about a sexy Dodge vehicle that might be on
the
block.
We've got Challengers, and they're so fun to drive, it's unreal.
Can guys take a Challenger for a test drive if they want?
Yeah, you can take one home with you, too.
Well, that's a great idea. How about the Ford lineup?
You know what? We've got the best-selling truck in the world. We've got the Ford F-150. We have Super Duty 250s and 350s as well, and we have a lot of them.
It is the all-new Gillis Auto Center.
We're open from 8 to 7 Monday through Saturday and 10 to 5 on Sunday.
Check them out.
Just go to Gillis.
Sometimes GPS lets you down. Always have a map handy in the glove box. And that's an easy thing to do with Mass Marketing Maps. These maps are free. Pick one up today at the Hoodsport Winery, Hood Canal Travel in Belfair, Century Mini Storage, and at iFIBER ONE Newsradio. So the next time technology lets you down, be prepared with a new map from Mass Marketing.
This is Steve Kramer from Kramer Tackle with this week's fishing report. Most of the rivers are punched out. A few are still in shape, but steelhead season is starting to wind down. If you need to catch a steelhead, I'd probably concentrate my efforts on the Cowlitz River or the Wainuchi. Both have been pulling some pretty good fish lately. Myself, I'm starting to get geared up for bass season. It's right around the corner. You could go out to Chambers Lake or possibly Spencer Lake in the Cove and concentrate on the edges of some of the docks and probably find a couple nice largemouths right now. I know of a 7.2 that came out of Long Lake last week, and I know of a mid-6 that came out of Lake Lawrence, both on white spinnerbaits. So it's time to start gearing up for that. If you want some trout, you can hit a few of the local lakes that have been stocked. Offutt Lake in Olympia was stocked with 900 oversized cutthroat. They're very pretty fish and super aggressive. So if you can, please take a kid fishing and make sure you check out the recreations page at iFiber1.com. And don't forget my site, KramerTackleandGuide.com. This has been Steve Kramer. Thanks for listening and good fishing.
I'm Chuck Devine for News Radio 1030 and FM 103.3. We have another powder day. Big snow this time around. Summit at Snoqualmie Central and Alpental picked up 5 inches of fresh snow, and so did Crystal Mountain. Some of these spots picked up more than a foot of fresh snow this week, so plenty of powder skiing for those spots. Crystal Mountain's Junior Regional Freestyle Competition is Saturday. They have a Spring Fling Demo Day, too, so you can test drive some of the latest equipment. A sunrise service and Easter egg hunt for Crystal on Sunday. Mission Ridge runs all their lifts with 43 Groom Pack powder slopes. Stevens Pass just got 10 inches of fresh snow, so you'll be knee-deep in it. Spring powder, it feels great, and the Groom trails are like a soft, quiet corduroy carpet. They're 100% with 50-pack powder trails. Mount Bachelor, Oregon on 88 slopes. Mount Hood Meadows just picked up 8 inches of fresh snow. Summit at Snoqualmie East and West back Saturday with fresh, untouched powder. I'm Chuck Devine for News Radio 1030 and FM 103.3.
iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
Hello and good morning. I'm Carol Gardner along with Jeff Slakey. Good morning.
Friday, yeah.
We're on AM 1030 and FM 103.3, streaming audio and video on iFiber1newsradio.com. We're also on Twitter at iFiber1Radio and Facebook at facebook.com/1030KMES. It's about 7:45 and it's around the low 40s still. Marilyn Foster has local news in about 15 minutes, and we've got some great guests today. We have Shelton Schools Superintendent Dr. Alex Apostle. He'll be in at 8:15. And then we have Riveting Radio Real Estate with Don Pinnell about 8:45. And we have some more news from around Washington this morning.
Yeah, calling homelessness and affordable housing a major challenge across the country. U.S. Senator Maria Cantwell is urging Congress to expand a program that helps build more affordable housing. As well, the Washington Democrat Thursday pushed for an increase to the federal low-income housing tax credit. She spoke at Patrick Place Apartments in Seattle. It's a 71-unit building back 2 years ago to formerly homeless tenants. The senator was joined by mayors from Seattle, Everett, and Tacoma, as well as housing advocates. Supporters say the tax credit is the most effective tool in getting affordable housing built in cities and states. The program has helped build nearly 3 million housing units nationwide since it was created, about 30 years ago. A 48-year-old orangutan from Seattle's Woodland Park Zoo has died after struggling with respiratory problems. The orangutan named Towan died yesterday during a veterinary examination, been taking medication for respiratory issues, which zoo officials say hadn't improved the condition. The birth of Towan and his sister Chinta at the Seattle Zoo back in '68 received widespread attention as they became the first twin orangutans born in captivity. Zoo officials described the 257-pound animal as an accomplished artist. He had worked with paint pens and colored chalks to make art. Get this, some of that art sold for up to $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that?
I've heard of that. Did you? I heard of him.
Elephants doing this. I've never heard anything else.
How about a dog? Did you ever see the one about the dog doing it? It's sort of a blindish dog, and she set up a paintbrush on his pond. The art has sold for quite a bit of money. Modern art.
Who buys this stuff?
Lots of people do.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you're just jealous. Nothing of yours is sold yet.
I am jealous about the ability of animals over me and art.
It's horrible.
All right, 7:48 here at iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
Clam diggers have a green light to dig razor clams starting today at Mocrox Beach. Officials say marine toxin tests showed the clams there are safe to eat. Long Beach is also currently open to digging through the end of March. The dig at Mocrox is scheduled to be on the morning tides and ends at noon each day. And the dig at Long Beach will be switching from evening to morning tides. And some things to remember are under state law, diggers get only 15 clams per day, and you're required to take those 15 you get. So first grab, first get.
Mm-hmm.
And all diggers have to be 15 or older and have a fishing license. And you can find all the details on our recreation page at iFiber1newsradio.com.
7:49 now, that time of the year. Again, Friday before Easter, and it's Good Friday. ABC's Dave Packer explains and talks about one of the holiest days on the Christian calendar.
It's the day Christians commemorate Christ's crucifixion and death on a hill outside of Jerusalem. The day before, Holy Thursday, on the night of the Last Supper, the Gospels say Jesus was betrayed by his disciple Judas. On Good Friday, Jesus arrested and condemned to death for refusing to deny that he was the Son of God. Christians believe he suffered and died for humanity's sins that day on the cross, that at that moment, a darkness covered the earth. Jesus was buried in a tomb, say the Gospels, 3 days before he would rise again on Easter Sunday. Dave Packer, ABC News.
So an interesting turn of events. So did you go to church a lot as a youth or even up into your adulthood with this kind of stuff? Easter Sunday, things like that?
We did the Easter Sunday, yeah.
Kind of the basic twice a year church. You go Christmas and Easter?
No, not really. When I was growing up, we went to church a lot more.
Went to private school for a few years, from kindergarten through third grade. We went twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
Holy Family out in Lacey. And we did this and learned about all this stuff. Pretty interesting if you follow the history of all of the religions, actually. 7:50, not just Good Friday, a historical and religious day, but it's also the day of the World Marble Championships.
Oh,
That's
man.
in London. We'll have that story coming up in a couple of moments here. We got to check the Old Farmer's Almanac now. In addition to marbles, I just found a big bag of marbles, too. I have no idea how to play marbles.
Seriously?
With the big masher, right? That's the big one. The masher.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
Have tulips bloomed yet in your part of the country? While we keep a keen eye out, some interesting tulip facts today from the Old Farmer's Almanac. With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac radio report for Friday, March 25th. Good Friday is the 85th day of the year. Elton John celebrates his 69th birthday, and RCA began mass production of the first color TV sets on this day in 1954. Here's some fun facts about springtime's earliest perennials, tulips. We associate them with Holland, which exports most of the modern world's tulip supply, but tulips were first cultivated by the Turks of the Ottoman Empire. The word tulip, in fact, is often traced back to a Persian word for turban. In the language of flowers, red tulips signify a declaration of love, while others indicate imagination or dreaminess. And if you're ever without an onion, a tulip bulb is said to make a good substitute when cooking. That is the Old Farmer's Almanac radio report. Learn more about the meaning of flowers at almanac.com.
iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
7:52 at iFIBER One News Radio. So you have a dirt, there's dirt, and you make a circle in the dirt, and that's where the marbles are. And then you fling your masher in there and try to knock other ones off.
I don't know. I never played marbles outside in the dirt. Usually played them in the house on the floor.
See, I got nothing. I got nothing on that.
Steelies? Do you have steelies in your marble bag?
What is that?
Little tiny steel marbles?
No. I don't think so. These marbles that I found.
Are they even real marbles?
They're glass. They're
round?
They're round. So marbles championship. I got to learn more about this. Maybe next year I'll be the big champion.
If you know your marbles, you know where to be. The Greyhound Pub, just a few hundred yards away from Gatwick Airport, south of London. The championships have been held there since 1932. It attracts players from around the world. 100 competitors form up to 20 teams. A German team has been dominating over the past decade. A U.S. squad last won it 16 years ago. It's an all-day event come rain or shine. Tom Rivers, ABC News, London.
That sounds fascinating that there's people from forever back and still to this day all heading towards London to play marbles.
Mm-hmm.
Landofmarbles.com has got a good tutorial.
Yeah.
How to play the classic marble game.
I mean, I don't believe we played them outside. Probably because we didn't want them to get them dirty.
Whenever I have seen footage, it always seems to be in a dirt circle. That's all I have to say about that.
Well, that's a carpet there.
7:54 here at iFIBER One News Radio. Good morning to you. We've talked already about Batman v Superman starting today. Additionally, there's another big movie, a big fat movie. One of the greatest success stories is in Hollywood. 14 years after the original, My Big Fat Greek Wedding. The sequel. Did you see The Big Fat Greek Wedding, the original?
Yes, I did, I believe.
14 years later, here's the second one.
It took years, but Nia Vardalos finally made a sequel to her enormous hit, My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
You all want to do this?
I wish they didn't. Vardalos' Tula is no longer the only one who feels suffocated by her Greek family. Her 17-year-old daughter, Paris, now feels it too.
Paris, eyes open, knees shut.
At the same time, she's trying to fix her marriage to John Corbett's Ian.
Who said there's no romance after marriage?
Sadly, the movie needs way more fixing than her fictional marriage. Very few moments feel real, and most of the jokes fall flat. 2 out of 5 stars. David Blaustein, ABC News.
Oh, David woke up on the wrong side of the bed this week. Didn't he give a 2.5 to Batman?
Yeah, I think he was pretty low. But you know what? I didn't really like My Big Fat Greek Wedding, the original.
I've never seen it, so what can you tell me about it, and why didn't you like it?
It's been a long time since I saw it, and it didn't seem... It was uninteresting. I mean, it didn't captivate my attention.
If you were Greek, do you think you'd have a different opinion on it?
I have no idea. As for movies, I'm not like, oh, that was an awesome movie. It didn't, I don't know. It wasn't.
Not going to buy it.
Yeah, it just didn't do it for me. But, you know, you might like it. It's hard to say.
Marilyn Foster has the latest in local news coming up in 10 minutes. The Democratic caucuses are tomorrow morning at 10, and you can head to, and they are encouraging pre-registration. wa-democrats.org is a link to the way you can get to your caucus sign-in sheet. Basically, what this is going to do, if you're going to be caucusing tomorrow, is you get it printed out first, so then you don't have to deal with the paperwork. It'll be like one of those other lines. Do you already have your stuff filled out? Sure do. Head on in. The doors open, I believe, at most polling places, caucus locations at 9, and it could take a couple of hours. People are going to sit around, and you can either say, well, I'm for Sanders, or I'm for Clinton, or I'm for blank, or I just don't know. And I think if there's a majority, right away, they do a vote. And if there's a majority of one of the candidates, then that's kind of it. You're kind of done. If there isn't a majority, then the undecideds get lobbied by a representative. And it's not like an active representative from the campaign, I don't think. It's a lot of times your friends and neighbors who just feel passionately about a specific person. And they'll be the ones who talk to the other undecideds in your precinct. So again, fellow neighbors, about how this works. And, well, here's why I'm voting for this person. Here's why I'm voting for this person. You should join in. And then the undecideds then will pick a camp, and then they move on there. So we should know the results by Saturday night. Last time I checked, to continue with his successes in caucus states, Bernie is looking good in Washington. Hillary has already come out saying, we may not win the state. There's a couple others over the rest of this weekend. 7:57 now at iFIBER One News Radio, and that does it for the 7 o'clock hour. Dr. Alex Apostle at 8:15. Don Pinnell at 8:45 for Riveting Radio Real Estate. ABC News is next.
Listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
Sometimes GPS lets you down. Always have a map handy in the glove box. And that's an easy thing to do with Mass Marketing Maps. These maps are free. Pick one up today at West Realty in Hoodsport, Mountain View Licensing on Wallace Neyland, at the Agate Store, and at iFIBER One News Radio. So the next time technology lets you down, be prepared with a new map from Mass Marketing.
Hey, baseball fans, it's that time of year again to join iFIBER One News Radio for Seattle Mariners baseball. Baseball is part of the fabric of summertime in the Northwest, and with people traveling to enjoy outdoor activities like camping, fishing, hiking, and boating, the only place to listen to the Seattle Mariners is on iFIBER One News Radio. People ask what they remember about a business when they have a need, and they always remember the name that they hear, the one that is most relevant in their mind. Advertising makes your business relevant and part of the community. Your business can be part of the Mariners broadcast each day or each inning of every game this summer by signing up now. Any business that signs up now to advertise with the Mariners gets up to 300 free schedule magnets. Call iFIBER One News Radio today at 360-426-1030 and sign up to be part of the Mariners broadcast team.
The Chad Benson Show.
You want to be a billionaire? You find where there's a problem. Then you create a solution to said problem, but you don't cure it. It's not the end-all to be-all. You continually have to have it. If it's a disease, there's no money in the cure, there's money in the disease. The Democrats, it's about getting voters, just like for the Republicans.
The Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, live weekdays 3 to 6 on iFIBER One News Radio. Mornings start with Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio. Join Jeff and Carol weekdays from 6 to 9 on AM 1030 and FM 1033 KMAS Shelton.
I'm Karen Chase. The Brussels Philharmonic delivered a defiant musical message in the face of terror, filling the air with joy at the memorial site to the bombing attacks this Good Friday. The Ode to Joy is the European Union's national anthem. Orchestra officials say it's a symbol of healing and hope. Belgian police conducted a series of raids in search of terror suspects, and they're still ongoing at this hour. One today ended in the shooting of a man near a subway car. ABC's Aaron Katersky is there.
This raid unfolded in broad daylight as heavily armed police moved in here in the Schaerbeek district of Brussels. A man was shot and wounded, and a bag that he had been carrying was blown up in a controlled detonation. Police did not name the target, but they've been conducting raids every day since the attacks at the airport and the subway station.
Officials in Brussels earlier arrested 6 more suspects in the bombings, including one with ties to the suspected ringleader of the Paris attacks. Secretary of State John Kerry says Europe needs to do a better job of sharing intelligence information. Arriving in Brussels for a security summit, Kerry also confirmed 2 Americans are among the dead. She's free for now, but a JetBlue flight attendant suspected of drug smuggling will face a court hearing today. ABC's David Curley has the latest.
Marcia Gay Reynolds will be back in court today, and if there is not an appeal of the decision to get her bail, she's going to post $500,000. She will be let out with an ankle bracelet on her, but she's been suspended from her job at JetBlue while the court case continues. David Curley, ABC News, Washington Reagan Airport.
The economy was a little hotter than previously estimated in the last quarter of last year. The Commerce Department says it grew at a rate of 1.4%, higher than the earlier 1% estimate, mostly driven by strong consumer spending. 5 protesters faced charges after staging a loud demonstration outside the North Carolina governor's mansion. They're protesting a new law to overturn a transgender tolerance ordinance in Charlotte. This is ABC News.
QL1, this is Control. Does Rocket Mortgage require me to come in and speak with someone? Negative, Control. With Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans, you can go through the entire mortgage process on your own and completely online. Copy that, QL1, but if I wanted to speak to someone, do you think they're out there? They're out there, all right. Their award-winning client service is beyond anything I've ever experienced. 3, 2, 1. Rocket Mortgage at QuickenLoans.com. Push button, get mortgage.
Rocket. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS Consumer Access.org number 3030.
4, 3, 2, 1. Friday's first endless apps of 2016 begins now.
Kitchen, we are a go.
That's right. America's favorite guilty pleasure is back. And $10 still gets you endless rounds of your favorite app. Like mozzarella sticks, loaded potato skins, or 8 styles of wings. We're talking endless rounds of the best appetizers on earth.
More endless apps for mankind.
Endless apps are back at Fridays.
Such an app.
20 years ago today, a long standoff began between the government and an anti-government militia group. More from ABC's Alex Stone.
On remote farming and ranching land near Jordan, Montana, 20 years ago, the standoff began. It would last for 81 days. Not many in town welcomed the armed and disgruntled anti-government Montana Freemen members who moved in, making their demands.
I don't think they're going to negotiate any kind of settlement with the FBI.
Coming only a few years after the Branch Davidian standoff in Waco, Texas, the FBI was careful not to move in too fast. After weeks of negotiations, it came to an end.
Our unwavering goal has been to peacefully resolve the standoff in Montana.
The leaders of the Freemen were sent to prison. Alex Stone, ABC News.
A deadly mystery is unraveling in Atlanta, where a hotel worker was found dead inside a walk-in freezer. Investigators conducted repeated tests to see if she was trapped and found the door handle worked perfectly each time. Officials don't know what happened. Karen Chase, ABC News.
Local news is brought to you by Fred Holmes Tree Service. FredHolmesTreeService.com, 427-4489.
From the iFIBER ONE Newsradio studios, I'm Marilyn Foster. The Washington State Democratic Party caucuses are tomorrow at 10 a.m. Hillary Clinton is maintaining a 300-delegate lead over Bernie Sanders after Tuesday night's contests. There are 118 Democratic delegates at stake in Washington, with 101 to be awarded proportionally based on the results of the caucuses. The remaining 17 are superdelegates or party leaders who can back any candidate they wish. Anyone who will be 18 by November 8th, 2016, and affirms they're a Democrat on caucus day is eligible to participate. Find your caucus location and pre-register online at demcaucus.com. Mason County commissioners directed human resources staff to check references and backgrounds on 2 finalists for the new county management position of Community Services Director. The person the commissioners appoint would supervise community development and health department finances, planning, and permit assistance. The new director would also oversee the environmental health and the community family health departments. County Commissioner Terry Jeffries said the commissioners could vote on filling the position at the April 5th regular meeting or during a special meeting scheduled before then, if possible. The Washington State Department of Corrections is looking for a new IT chief. Ira Foyer, who was in charge of the department's information technology for about a year, has resigned. His departure isn't part of any disciplinary action taken at the department as a result of the improper early release of thousands of prisoners in Washington. Foyer told investigators about the programming problem that caused the releases and took steps to get it resolved. During this week's Port of Call on Daybreak, Commissioner Dick Taylor talked about this June's Cascadia Rising earthquake drill that's going to be happening at Sanderson Field. He said at least 500 service members will be coming in and staying on the old fairground property.
I just spent, 2 days in a planning conference. This thing is the largest exercise in the Northwest.
Wow.
It's going to be, there are 3 states involved plus Canada. That's Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Canada are all involved in it. It's going to include players from the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, the Marines, and of course the Washington National Guard, civilian agencies down to county agencies. Of course, Sheriff's Office, emergency planning guys, all that kind of stuff is going to be involved. Hundreds of people. And right here on Sanderson Field.
All of the service members will be bringing everything they would need to stage and react to a large earthquake in this area. You can find more information on Cascadia Rising on iFIBER1newsradio.com. For iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Marilyn Foster.
The taste of victory is sweet.
The Gonzaga Bulldogs are headed to the Sweet 16.
But there's still work to be done.
Wilcher, step back 3 from the left side. Oh, that's Mullen. Two-handed throw down. All the way to the rim. It's reversed. It's good at the buzzer.
Tune in Friday as Gonzaga battles Syracuse in the Sweet 16.
Spinning, and scoring.
They are making it look easy. Tip-off is set for 6:40 on the Toyota Gonzaga IMG Sports Network.
Gonzaga, choose.
Arch Mechanical. Our name begins with affordable. Affordable refrigeration, cooling, and heating. Whether residential, commercial, or food service equipment, your satisfaction is of utmost importance. And with over 30 years of experience, Arch Mechanical Service is backed by a 30-day labor guarantee. Serving South and West Puget Sound, there is no need to pay for one of those big city technicians. Call 360-229-2139. Arch Mechanical. Our name begins with affordable.
Now, from the all-new Gillis Auto Center Sports Desk, here's Jeff Slinky.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, 808, iFIBER One News Radio. Congratulations to Oregon and those Ducks, advancing to the Elite Eight and on the brink of perhaps their first Final Four in 77 years. What? Yeah, they beat defending national champions Duke, the Blue Devils, last night, 82-68 in the NCAA tournament. Other winners, Villanova, OKLAHOMA, and Kansas also won too. UW Husky women's team is in the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2001. They play Kentucky in Kentucky at 4. Gonzaga basketball on the radio tonight in men's basketball, taking on Syracuse at 6:40, pregame at 6:20. Other games today, Virginia, Iowa State, the Wisconsin Notre Dame game, and the North Carolina, Indiana game. And Carol and I have Indiana, the Hoosiers, going all the way, winning this whole thing. So we gotta maintain and hope for a big win over North Carolina. Tough, but
could happen.
It could happen. We've seen crazier things this tournament. Nelson Cruz busted out of a slump with a double RBI single, helping the hot-hitting Mariners 10-8 win over the Rockies yesterday. Mariners have scored 22 runs in 2 games. Our next Mariners game tomorrow on iFIBER One News Radio. The Capitol at Shelton girls tennis match been rescheduled for today after some wild weather this week. Taking a look at the forecast right now. Here is Carol.
Good morning, and it will be calming down. This morning, partly cloudy, a few showers, but it's going to turn out to be a nice dry afternoon. with some sunshine and highs in the mid-50s. Tomorrow, cloudy, slightly warmer, highs in the upper 50s. Sunday, there is going to be a new system rolling in with scattered showers throughout the day. But after we make it through Monday, looking ahead by Tuesday or Wednesday, it's looking dry and warmer. Temps in the 60s and maybe a little higher. Not going to go there just yet. For the full forecast, check out the weather tab on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.com. And right now in the South Sound, it is in the low 40s.
Now, from the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You. From business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor. Your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
Good morning. I'm Carol Gardner along with Jeff Stlakey. Good morning, Jeff.
Friday,
and we got a great show for you. In a few moments, we've got Dr. Apostle from the Shelton Schools. He's the Shelton School Superintendent. He'll be in a few minutes. Today is Good Friday.
Yeah.
Easter is Sunday, and there's a lot of Easter egg hunts tomorrow on Saturday.
And they all seem to start at 11.
Right about an hour after the Democratic caucus is starting. And also this morning, we'll have some breaking news from ABC. We'll have that a little bit later.
When we come back, Dr. Alex Apostle on the air with us. Also look ahead to other things, including riveting radio real estate with Don Pennell at 8:45. It's all right here on Daybreak.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
Most churches in this area are having special Easter services. Gateway Property Management hopes you'll join them in observing the true meaning of the Easter holiday by attending the church of your choice. Best wishes for a blessed holiday from Gateway Property Management.
The beauty of spring, the richness of the Easter tradition. This is truly a special time. Our Community Credit Union sincerely hopes this will be one of your very best Easters ever. Happy Easter from your friends at Our Community Credit Union.
Get ready to rock out and sing your favorite songs karaoke style at Lucky Dog Casino. Every Saturday starting at 9 p.m., join us for free karaoke with a live band as your background music. Only at Lucky Dog Casino, located just south of Hoodsport. Get ready to rock out and sing your favorite songs karaoke style at Lucky Dog Casino. Every Saturday starting at 9 p.m., join us for free karaoke with a live band as your background music. Only at Lucky Dog Casino, located just south of Hoodsport.
I've been coming to Iron Springs for about 40 years. First as a child with my parents, then as a teenager, then with my husband. We've brought friends, neighbors, in-laws, a few miscellaneous boyfriends of my sister, carried grandma over streams on the beach, and now I'm back with our two lovely daughters.
Iron Springs Resort, where special memories are kept. Iron Springs is 25 classic historic oceanfront cabins, lovingly renovated with wood-burning fireplaces, uninterrupted ocean views, fully stocked modern kitchens, Wi-Fi, and widescreen TV.
Here for my 41st birthday. Wonderful way to celebrate. An eagle let us get nice and close. Couldn't ask for a better birthday gift.
This Olympic Coast Minute was brought to you by Iron Springs Resort in Copalis Beach, where the ocean and seagulls greet you every day. Visit ironspringsresort.com for our current specials. ironspringsresort.com or call 1-800-380-7950. 1-800-380-7950.
iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
8:14 at iFIBER ONE News Radio on a Friday morning. I'm Jeff Stlakey along with Carol Gardner. Morning, Carol.
Morning, Jeff.
You know, Fridays, Carol, at this time, we are happy to have Shelton School Superintendent Dr. Alex Apostle on the air with us. And sure enough, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Jeff.
How
Good morning,
doing?
Carol.
Morning, Doctor.
Yeah.
Talk with you a couple things that happened over the week. Last week, let's start with last week. We started to talk about a community and staff forum that happened, an initial conversation, the start of what could be a long process, but in talking about a potential grade reconfiguration. So how did that meeting come out this week?
Well, it was a great meeting. A lot of people attended. There were about 60 people, I think, that were present, 55 to 60 people, and they had some great ideas. We had a nice exchange of ideas and direction in terms of that particular issue, but it's the first small step, like you mentioned, Jeff, in a long process to prepare the bond issue for February 14th, 2017. So, but it was a good start. I really enjoyed the discussion, the conversation, and we hope to continue those types of venues all the way through the process. So it was very good.
Good. And then you just mentioned a February, Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2017, bond. Is that when voters can take up this issue, or is that the start of when all the paperwork is
Well, February 14th, 2017, we're putting forth before the voters a replacement levy and the bond issue. And both of those issues need to be developed very specifically. And we're putting together a citizens bond and levy committee that will be working on all those things. Then, of course, our school board will be involved. The committee will make a recommendation to the board, and then the board will decide what we're going to put forth to the voters in 2017.
Okay. Interesting. You also had a meeting with the hospital this week.
Yes, that was a great meeting between our school board and the hospital board, and I'm just happy to report that we're going to be moving ahead to support a health science academy at Shelton High School, and I'm very appreciative of the hospital, its board, Eric Mall, the CEO, and of course our school board, our president, Sally Brownfield, highly supportive of this collaborative effort, and I think is definitely going to make a difference for not only Shelton High School, but all of our students in our district. And hopefully this will be the beginning of academies throughout our system.
What would a health science academy look like? What would people do with that?
Well, the great part about this, in terms of this partnership, is that we're going to have a joint advisory committee comprised of health people that are employed in the health field, along with our staff, and we're going to develop a program very specifically geared to our students and to our community. So all that's going to be developed together. But it will involve, it won't involve the entire school, but it will be a pathway for students that may begin in the 9th grade and go right through the 12th grade, with the final piece being, and it may not be the final piece, but internships for our students, externships for our teachers. They'll be visible throughout the entire medical community.
So this is for folks perhaps interested later in life in medicine?
Well, I think, the hospital's view on this is that if we can work together with the public school system, we can develop potential employees for the health in the health field. And there's a great need for that. So what we want to try to do is give our students hope for the future. And it would be great if they graduate from high school and go right into the health field, staying here in Shelton, improving the health system, improving our economic base. But it's a win for everybody across the board. So it's an exciting time.
Plus a great resource to have the hospital. I mean, they are top notch.
Absolutely. They're a great organization, and the fact that they want to work with us as a school district is fantastic. And I greatly appreciate everybody's support and cooperation to make this happen. The president of the hospital board, Scott Hilburn, he's been extremely supportive and excited, and he's been there all the way for us. So just very thankful that this is going to take place.
What's coming up next week for you?
Well, there's a number of things that will be happening next week that we're going to be launching a lot of the work that I've just mentioned to you, getting prepared to bring that committee together and begin talking about the bond issue and the replacement levy. And that's going to take a lot of my time now and into the future.
I bet.
But it's an exciting time and an exciting endeavor.
It's 8:20. We're talking with Shelton School Superintendent Dr. Alex Apostle, as we always do Fridays at this time. And we do thank you for coming in every week and
thank you.
Keeping the community updated.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, Jeff and Carol.
8:21 now, iFIBER ONE News Radio. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have some additional news notes from the Great Northwest and look to ABC News as well for breaking news stories.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
Hi, I'm Ken Slater, the Roof Doctor. If you're like me, your family's important, so make sure that they're well taken care of. One of the best ways to do that is to provide a safe and warm home to live in. For over 50 years, the Roof Doctor has been helping families stay safe and warm by building roofs that last for generations. Our teams have some of the most experienced roofers in the area, and we only use the highest quality materials to keep your family safe, warm, and dry. That's the Roof Doctor. Give us a call.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Paraswabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is John Greenhut, the CEO of Paraswabs. And if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Paraswabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniker that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Paraswabs risk-free, call 1-800-928-7113. That's 1-800-928-7113. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends, family, and coworkers talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-928-7113. That's 1-800-928-7113.
Hi, this is Terry Allen with a look at the community calendar on iFIBER ONE News Radio. Nonprofits post your upcoming events on iFiberOneNewsRadio.com. Yoga classes are held every Monday and Wednesday evening from 6 to 7:30 at Harmony Hill. Everyone's welcome, regardless of fitness level or experience. Drop-in fee is $12. Call 898-2363 for more info. For iFIBER ONE News Radio, I'm Terry Allen.
iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
Welcome back to Daybreak. I'm Carol Gardner along with Jeff Slakey. Good morning, Jeff.
Morning.
We're on AM 1030, FM 103.3, and it's about 8:23. Marilyn Foster is coming up in a few minutes, and we have riveting radio real estate with Don Pinnell at 8:45.
Man who was transfixed. Seattle transfixed on man in tree. The internet as well, perching near the top of an 80-foot sequoia downtown Seattle, declined to appear in court after being arrested on suspicion of malicious mischief. Judge found probable cause to detain 28-year-old Cody Lee Miller and rescheduled his bail hearing for this afternoon. No charges have been filed yet. Man climbed near the top of the conifer on Tuesday, stayed for about 25 hours, ignored police efforts to coax him down much of the time, threw apples at him, branches as well at responders. A police probable cause statement made public Thursday says an urban forester with the city's transportation department pegged the damage at about $7,800. 8:25 now at iFIBER ONE News Radio. Seattle police say new DNA evidence has led to a man's arrest in a 1980 killing. James Buss found stabbed in his ransacked Belltown apartment back in 1980. 2002, detectives requested some testing of DNA evidence that they seized. And while a profile was identified, they couldn't match it with anyone. But The department says late last year, detectives collected DNA from a person of interest in the case, and it turned out to be a match. 50-year-old Douglas Richards, who was 14 at the time of the killing.
And good news for Washington drivers who use the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. Washington State Transportation Commission voted to suspend a planned 50-cent toll bridge increase that was to start July 1st. Excuse me, there must be something floating around in this
you got
studio.
in your throat here.
We've both been sneezing this morning.
Wow, my allergies have just been killing me. Have they been bad for you? Do you get bad allergies?
I usually don't have allergies at all.
Jiminy Christmas.
Maybe it's spreading.
All choked up about something.
Something. So, anyways, by law, the bridge has to be paid with toll revenues, but some money from the legislature has provided some relief with $2.5 million in gas tax revenues. So they don't have to use this 50-cent increase after all.
That's pretty good. We've got some great basketball for you tonight. The NCAA tournament is going on, and Jim Boeheim is the coach for Syracuse, and here he is talking a little bit about what it's going to be like having to defend the big Gonzaga star Kyle Wiltshire. He's a tough one, and here's Syracuse head coach Jim Boeheim.
Doesn't matter what defense you're playing. He's a tremendous player, and he can hurt you inside, outside, and any number of ways. He's as good as anybody against any defense because he's big, he can shoot, he can pass, he's mobile. He's as good as anybody, 6'8" in the country, because he can go outside and hurt you, he can go inside and hurt you.
And then if you remember, Kyle Wiltshire used to play, did he play for Duke or UNC? One of those big SEC schools, and transferred to Gonzaga a couple years back, knowing that he could likely get a lot more playing time, a lot more minutes behind him. And he's made the best of that situation. Tell you what, it's awesome. 6:40 is the tip tonight, roughly. 6:20 is when our pregame show will start right here on iFIBER ONE Newsradio as we continue on through the tournament.
And with spring's arrival, the DOT is reminding drivers that studded tires must be removed by the last day in March. If you don't remove them, you could get a fine of $124. DOT says the studs can wear down the pavement. Find out more information on the full press release on iFiber1newsradio.com.
It's Good Friday. Stock market closed today, so I don't believe we'll be hearing from Karen Shade from Edward Jones, normally at 8:30, just before the latest in local news. Coming up at 8:45, Dawn Pinnell with Riveting Radio Real Estate. We'll talk with her about some of the conditions here locally in the housing market. And also, we've been talking about the big weekend that is coming up. A lot of folks are going to be caucusing tomorrow morning at 10. Make sure, highly encouraged to pre-register. And basically all that means is there's a form on wa-democrats.org. If you're a Democrat in good standing and you consider yourself a Democrat, you're going to be 18 by Election Day. You can participate in the caucuses tomorrow at 10. But it's encouraged to have this form filled out first, because we have seen massive numbers all across the country when it comes to turnout. So I'm anticipating the same. Bernie's been in town. I saw a picture on the Twitter. Some dude already camped out at Safeco Field. He's number one, waiting for him to speak sometime today, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure when he's going to be there. But yeah, you just go to that website that Jeff mentioned earlier, and you can just fill it out and print out your form and bring it with you tomorrow.
Yeah, pretty easy. Bob Dylan, Bonnie Raitt, Don Henley. Summer is always the time for musical tours and musical performances. Chateau Ste. Michelle is the summer concert series. Kicks off May 28, 29. Paul Simon. You can get all these tickets at Ticketmaster. Tears for Fears, Chicago, Lyle Lovett, who apparently is very good in concert. Goo Goo Dolls, and some Chris Isaak, Ray LaMontagne. Quite a great wide variety playing there this summer. You big summer music fan? You go to these concerts?
Yeah, I think outdoor concerts are great. I like them actually better than indoor concerts.
Went to the Gorge once for Dave Matthews. I think the only time I've been to the Gorge was in college. The show started around 7. We weren't released until maybe 7:40.
Sounds like a story.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
Local news is brought to you by Shelton Health and Rehabilitation Center. Find them online at sheltonhealthandrehab.com.
From the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, I'm Marilyn Foster. The Washington State Democratic Party caucuses are tomorrow at 10 a.m. Hillary Clinton is maintaining a 300-delegate lead over Bernie Sanders after Tuesday night's contests. There are 118 Democratic delegates at stake in Washington, with 101 to be awarded proportionally based on the results of the caucuses. The remaining 17 are superdelegates or party leaders who can back any candidate they wish. Anyone who will be 18 by November 8th, 2016, and affirms they're a Democrat on caucus day is eligible to participate. Find your caucus location and pre-register online at demcaucus.com. Mason County Commissioners directed Human Resources staff to check references and backgrounds on 2 finalists for the new county management position of Community Services Director. The person the commissioners appoint would supervise community development and health department finances, planning, and permit assistance. The new director would also oversee the environmental health and the community family health departments. County Commissioner Terry Jeffries said the commissioners could vote on filling the position at the April 5th regular meeting or during a special meeting scheduled before then if possible. The Washington State Department of Corrections is looking for a new IT chief. Ira Foyer, who was in charge of the department's information technology for about a year, has resigned. His departure isn't part of any disciplinary action taken at the department as a result of the improper early release of thousands of prisoners in Washington. Foyer told investigators about the programming problem that caused the releases and took steps to get it resolved. During this week's Port of Call on Daybreak, Commissioner Dick Taylor talked about this June's Cascadia Rising earthquake drill that's going to be happening at Sanderson Field. He said at least 500 service members will be coming in and staying on the old fairground property.
I just spent, 2 days in a planning conference. This thing is the largest exercise in the Northwest.
Wow.
It's going to be, there are 3 states involved plus Canada. That's Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Canada are all involved in it. It's going to include players from the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, the Marines, and of course the Washington National Guard, civilian agencies down to county agencies. Of course, Sheriff's Office, emergency planning guys, all that kind of stuff is going to be involved. Hundreds of people. And right here on Sanderson Field.
All of the service members will be bringing everything they would need to stage and react to a large earthquake in this area. You can find more information on Cascadia Rising on iFIBER1newsradio.com. For iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Marilyn Foster.
Ascend Roofing Company in Shelton's on top of it. 868-2730. Roofing work that speaks for itself.
Hey, just a little note to say thank you for the outstanding work that you, Dennis, and especially Jorge and the crew performed for us on our roofing project. On a scale of 1 to 10, we rate it at 10.5. It was a fantastic feeling from start to finish. Your company is a first-class operation and will definitely give your name to all of our friends and family if they're in need of your services.
You could be the next happy customer by calling Ascend Roofing. 868-2730.
Blowouts and top seeds dominated the first day of regional semifinals in the NCAA tournament. Hi, everybody. Todd Ant reporting on sports. In the West, it was duck soup for Duke. Top seed Oregon eliminated the Blue Devils 82-68. Ducks guard Jordan Bell.
We played one of our best games this year. I think we showed everybody we're a great team.
Oklahoma blew out Texas A&M 77-63. Sooners coach Lon Kruger.
Guys came in off the bench, did a terrific job. So proud for the guys. Happy for them, and know the next one's going to be tough, too.
So it's Oklahoma and Oregon in the West Regional Finals. Villanova eliminated Miami with a convincing 92-69 victory in the South. Nova coach Jay Wright.
We have a saying, shoot them up, sleep in the streets. We want the guys to start aggressively.
Villanova takes on Kansas for a shot at the Final Four Saturday after the Jayhawks defeated Maryland 79-63.
I thought the second half we defended, we rebounded, we ran good offense for the most part, but it was a good team effort.
Kansas coach Bill Self. The Sweet 16 continues tonight with games in the Midwest and East regionals. In the NBA, crazy finish in Brooklyn. LeBron James scored 30 points after 3 quarters, then disappeared while the Nets kept scoring.
Taking the run by Sloan. Ahead to Bogdanovich with James lurking, and he's able to score on a lay-in.
On WFAN, Brooklyn knocks off the Cavaliers 104-95. Kevin Durant, 20 points to help Oklahoma City beat Utah for its 6th straight victory.
KD across the timeline with 2. Pulls up, pops. Leaning angle right 3. The buzzer drops! Ka-ching, a Thunder money ball. KD rakes it up. He's got 20 for the 57th consecutive game, a career high.
On WWLS, OKC wins 113-91. And in Los Angeles, Chris Paul inbounded the ball to J.J. Redick with 1.1 left on the clock.
J.J. has it. Fires in time for the win. The Clippers win!
On Prime Ticket, the Clippers nipped the Trailblazers 96-94. NFL news, quarterback Robert Griffin III found a new home in Cleveland, signing a 2-year deal with the Browns. Todd Ant, ABC Sports.
Science Fantastic with Professor Michio Kaku. Saturdays at 5, Sundays at 6 on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
You know, on Science Fantastic, we've had a number of neurologists talking about the incredible breakthroughs. Did you know that using computers, we can actually communicate with the thinking brain? Telepathy, telekinesis, recording memories, photographing a dream. Machines that are controlled by the mind.
Now, from the all-new Gillis Auto Center Sports Desk, here's Jeff Slakey.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. 8:36 here at iFIBER ONE News Radio. Tonight on the radio, we have Gonzaga basketball for you. Sweet 16 action taking on the Orange of Syracuse at 6:40. The pregame at 6:20. Other big games today, Virginia, Iowa State, Wisconsin, Notre Dame, North Carolina, Indiana. The UW Husky women's team is in the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2001. They play Kentucky at 4. And the Mariners had a 10-8 win over the Rockies yesterday. Cruz, who's been struggling as of late, Carol, entered the game 3 for 29, but had an RBI single and a double. Overall, the Mariners have scored 22 runs in 2 games. Next Mariners game on iFIBER ONE News Radio tomorrow. Also, Capital at Shelton girls tennis match been rescheduled for today because of weather earlier in the week. Speaking
of the weather, Jeff, it's partly cloudy and there might be a few showers early, but today will turn out to be a nice, dry afternoon with some sunshine, and highs will be in the mid-50s. Tomorrow, cloudy, slightly warmer, highs in the upper 50s. Sunday, a new system rolls in, and then we're going to have scattered showers throughout the day. But looking ahead, by next Tuesday or Wednesday, we're going to have a lot of sunshine.
Just say it. Just say it.
It's going to be in the 60s or higher, possibly.
She wants to say 70s so bad, and I want to hear it.
I will not say that yet because it always changes.
I know it changes, but wouldn't it be something?
I think it'd be awesome. It's springtime. And if you want to check out the full weather forecast, check out the weather tab on iFIBER1newsradio.com. But right now it's in the low 40s in the South Sound.
Now, from the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You, from business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor. Your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
Good morning. I'm Carol Gardner along with Jeff Slakey. Good morning, Jeff.
Morning.
We've got a great show for you. For the rest of the show, we are having riveting radio real estate with Don Pinnell in about 10 minutes or less. And we are streaming audio and video this morning on iFIBER1newsradio.com. We're also on Twitter at iFIBER1Radio and Facebook at facebook.com/1030 KMES. Today is Good Friday. Easter is Sunday. Easter egg hunts tomorrow. Something else is also happening tonight. What do you got in your hands there?
Big games here with NCAA. I was looking at our bracket that we filled out the other day. Yesterday's games were considered the left side of the bracket. It was the games on the left side of the bracket. We are, yesterday, Carol, we had 8 teams picked in the Sweet 16. After the games last night, we have 1 team left in our Elite 8 on the left-hand side. So we got to really hope for Kansas, but not too much, because we need Indiana to win the whole thing. And it would be something special tonight to hear the Gonzaga Bulldogs win on iFIBER One News Radio, AM 1030 and FM 103.3 at 640. Because then wouldn't it be something if Oregon could beat Oklahoma, where the wind comes whipping down the range, and those 2 teams compete in a Final Four tournament? Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, that'd be something
man.
else.
Bringing the attention back to the Great Northwest. Not get a lot of love out here in the Great Northwest.
No, they still think we're
way out there. Takes forever to get here.
They still think we have outhouses out here.
I just saw that. What kind of houses?
Outhouses.
Outhouses. I just saw a picture on the internet that looked like they were working on a jet to try to get from the Atlantic coast to London in under 4 hours. That may, the other thing I heard, speaking of London, this is a stretch, but
London speaking. London calling.
London calling. That the LA Rams, the new football team, LA Rams, they're going to be on Hard Knocks next year on HBO. And they, in 2018, because I don't think their stadium's going to be fully completed. They're going to play at the Coliseum, back where the Raiders used to play back in the old days. And so their stadium's not going to be ready in time. But in 2018, they're going to play games in China. They're still going to play in London, some games, but now they're going to go and play in China.
Interesting.
They see all the money that the NBA is making off the players in China, and they feel like there is already some inroads.
So the NFL's not making enough money.
The NFL.
So they got to find some way to make more money. I mean,
We're struggling here. 8:42. Steve Kramer next. Chuck Devine after that. Then Don Pinnell, riveting radio real estate. It's all coming up next on Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
This is Steve Kramer from Kramer Tackle with this week's fishing report. Most of the rivers are punched out. A few are still in shape, but steelhead season is starting to wind down. If you need to catch a steelhead, I'd probably concentrate my efforts on the Cowlitz River or the Wainuchi. Both have been pulling some pretty good fish lately. Myself, I'm starting to get geared up for bass season. It's right around the corner. You could go out to Chambers Lake or possibly Spencer Lake in the Cove and concentrate on the edges of some of the docks and probably find a couple nice largemouths right now. I know of a 7.2 that came out of Long Lake last week, and I know of a mid-6 that came out of Lake Lawrence, both on white spinnerbaits. So it's time to start gearing up for that. If you want some trout, you can hit a few of the local lakes that have been stocked. Offutt Lake in Olympia was stocked with 900 oversized cutthroat. They're very pretty fish and super aggressive. So if you can, please take a kid fishing and make sure you check out the recreations page at iFiber1.com. And don't forget my site, KramerTackleandGuide.com. This has been Steve Kramer. Thanks for listening and good fishing.
I'm Chuck Devine for News Radio 1030 and FM 103.3. We have another powder day. Big snow this time around. Summit at Snoqualmie Central and Alpental picked up 5 inches of fresh snow, and so did Crystal Mountain. Some of these spots picked up more than a foot of fresh snow this week, so plenty of powder skiing for those spots. Crystal Mountain's Junior Regional Freestyle Competition is Saturday. They have a Spring Fling Demo Day, too, so you can test drive some of the latest equipment. A sunrise service and Easter egg hunt for Crystal on Sunday. Mission Ridge runs all their lifts with 43 Groom Pack powder slopes. Stevens Pass just got 10 inches of fresh snow, so you'll be knee-deep in it. Spring powder, it feels great, and the Groom trails are like a soft, quiet corduroy carpet. They're 100% with 50-pack powder trails. Mount Bachelor, Oregon on 88 slopes. Mount Hood Meadows just picked up 8 inches of fresh snow. Summit at Snoqualmie East and West back Saturday with fresh, untouched powder. I'm Chuck Devine for News Radio 1030 and FM 103.3.
iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
8:44 Friday morning. Every other Friday, we take some time. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning, Jeff.
to learn a little bit about the real estate market with riveting radio real estate and Don Pinnell from John L. Scott. Morning, Don.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Carol.
Morning, Don.
Welcome back, Jeff.
Thank you. Nice to be back. I was gone. I guess I was afraid of last time. I missed the conversation last time.
It was riveting.
As it always is.
It always is. Yes.
What are we going to talk about today?
Today I wanted to just wrap up representing a seller.
Oh, yeah.
We've been talking about what the steps that you go through when you're listing your house to sell. And we've talked a little bit about encouraging folks to think about that because we really need some listings. Our inventory is very low right now. So that causes problems on a lot of levels. We were just talking about, folks are afraid to sell their house because they're afraid they might not find another one to buy.
Yeah.
So if you've ever thought of listing your house, now is a good time to do that.
Oh, okay.
So wanted to talk a little bit today about the marketing part of after we've filled out all the paperwork and we've set the price and we've put up the signs and we've taken the pictures and done all of that, then we do the marketing part. And to be honest with you, most people nowadays look online to find their listings. It used to be that you'd buy ads in the newspaper and that kind of thing. But a lot of people go online and they're actually looking for themselves. So you can do it one of two ways. You can take a look for yourself or you can come and see me and I can print out some listings for you that might be interesting according to what your criteria is. So we'll talk more about that when we talk about representing the buyer, which we'll start next time.
Okay.
So a couple of things that I do a little bit differently than some folks. Of course, I do this show. And so all of my listings get talked about in this format, which is kind of fun. And then one thing that we do, which a lot of real estate offices do, is that when you have a new listing, the whole group of realtors from the office goes out for a tour. And we usually do that on Tuesday mornings, and we just all pile in a car and we go out and take a look. So that accomplishes a couple of things. It gets more eyes on your house, and it also allows those realtors to give me feedback as to how they think about the price. A lot of times we rate it on curb appeal, we rate it on functionality, those kinds of things. So, and they're usually pretty honest about what they think. So it's just another set of eyes looking at the property and letting me know what they think. So that's the marketing. And then we talk a little bit with the seller about what to expect as far as offers coming in, how long that's likely to take based on other houses in the market. Can be anywhere from 1 day to a year. You just never know. It just takes that perfect person to come along to want exactly your house. So however long that takes. But I usually like to prepare people for the fact that it could take a while and not to get discouraged if your house is listed for a month. As long as you're having showings, then it's moving in the right direction. If for some reason your house doesn't have any showings in that first month, then we probably need to talk about lowering the price.
Is that the first thing that you look to?
Usually, yes, because that's usually what's keeping people away from looking at it. Okay. Assuming that and if it doesn't have any showings in a month, the first thing I actually do is take a look and make sure I've got all the information in correctly.
Yeah.
I actually do that after the first week or so. If I haven't had any showings, I want to make sure that folks are able to find it online. And of course, all the listings that I enter in online go on our John L. Scott website. They go on the multiple listing website. They go on Zillow. They go on Trulia. They go on Redfin. All of those search engines, they automatically go out to that.
Oh, very nice.
So folks that are used to a certain format should be able to find it there. And so I usually try and go on those websites pretending that I'm the buyer and make sure I can find your listing to make sure. But given that all of that checks out and people just aren't coming, usually the thing that's keeping them away is the price. They don't feel that your house is worth what we set the price for. Even after going through all of the market analysis and all that kind of stuff, sometimes you can be wrong. So after a month, if there are no showings, we usually try and sit down and say, hey, let's maybe take another look at this. And we usually talk about things like how people search. So in other words, if your house is listed at 300 and that's too high, probably the next step to drop it down to would be 375, because people tend to look in increments of 25,000 when they're looking seriously. So, you know, we talk about that. If it seems reasonable and if the seller is agreeable, then we will change that price. And that accomplishes two things. It gets it back on everybody's radar screen. When most realtors, you'll find, will look first thing in the morning on the website and take a look at what's new, what's a new listing, what's gone pending overnight, what's sold overnight. And so if you change the price, then that shows up as a price reduction on that first page thing that people look at. So gets it back in front of everybody again. So hopefully we only have to do that once. I've seen cases where we've had to do it a couple of times, just because markets change or conditions change, that kind of thing. So
if you're selling a house in a neighborhood that may have not sold a house in a while,
right,
and you can't find even any comparables, how do you come up with a price?
That is a tough one. Then it becomes a discussion with the seller.
Okay.
We usually at that point really take a look at the county assessed value, see what they're saying. We can expand that comparable area out a little bit. If it's a real specific area that doesn't have very many sales, then you can kind of expand out into the county a little bit more, or you can change the criteria as far as how long. So in other words, we usually try and look at sales in the last 6 months. If we don't find any, we can go back to a year.
Okay.
That just makes it a little bit less reliable, but at least it's something that we can look at. So
I'm guessing usually when the seller has the price and somebody bites, they're not usually biting with that exact price. They usually go a little lower. So the negotiation process starts.
The negotiation process starts, yes. And I usually try and prepare sellers for that as well. I show them a copy of the contract or the purchase and sale agreement that they're likely to see. And we talk about that. You know, it is very unusual that somebody will offer full price right off the bat. Does happen, but not very often. I usually figure that if it's within 10% of the asking price, you're usually in the ballpark, you know, and then we kind of negotiate back and forth. Another thing that I'm actually dealing with right now is somebody did offer full price, but then they asked for closing costs to be included. So that in effect takes that offer from full price down to 3% less than full price, which is still a decent offer. So we try and talk about that. Some sellers have a kind of a knee-jerk reaction to, I'm not paying somebody else's closing costs. What do you mean? So we kind of talk through that, well, okay, this is a way that they can still offer you full price, but keep a little bit of money in their pockets. And so, but if somebody is dead set against paying somebody else's closing costs, then we have to negotiate back and say, no, not going to do that. And then it becomes, okay, well, maybe we can drop the price by a little bit to cover that, or, you know, there's always ways to negotiate through that process. So it's usually important with a seller too to kind of gauge their feelings about that. I mean, how do they feel about that negotiation process? Some people absolutely hate it.
Oh yeah.
Some people love it. Most people are kind of in between, you know, so we have to kind of work through that process. But yeah, in reality, you're going to have to expect some sort of negotiations.
Have you ever had like a really drawn out negotiation where it's back and forth and back and forth? It's like, okay, somebody
decide. Yeah. Yes. Actually, I have. And that's what I'm here for. So that's one of the reasons that we encourage people to use a realtor, is that we have training in how to do that. And I like to kind of be in the role of calming people down and saying, now let's step back and look at this, and let's try and see this from the other person's point of view, and kind of work at it that way. So, but yeah, sometimes it just doesn't work. I mean, we're too far apart in price, or they're asking for too many concessions. And sometimes you just have to say, you know what, this obviously isn't the right person for this sale. And that's scary for sellers too, because they think, oh, maybe this is the only one I'm going to get. But so we have to say, no, you know, you got one, so chances are we'll get another one. And I am a firm believer in the idea that that perfect person is there. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer to find them, but they're there.
So are you ever locked into selling to a certain person at a certain point, or can you all of a sudden just go, no, I don't want to do it, I'm totally not going to sell?
That's unusual because hopefully by the time you've decided to sell, you've decided you are going to sell.
Or I guess another way to put it is, so you're in negotiations with this person and then somebody else says, hey, I know somebody else that will give you this. And are you ever locked into only selling to somebody after you've gone past a certain point?
Once both people have signed the contract, then you have a binding contract. Now there are,
even though you're still negotiating the price, though?
Once you're negotiating the price, while you're still negotiating the price, you haven't signed the contract.
Okay.
So once everybody puts their name on that line and both agree to the terms, then you have a binding contract.
Okay.
Yeah. So now that's not to say that there aren't ways that like the buyer can back out because they can't get financing or because they don't agree on what needs to be done during the inspection phase, those kinds of things. Those are contingencies of the contract. So if those aren't met, then we can renegotiate or back out on either side.
We're talking with Dawn Pinnell from John L. Scott Real Estate in Shelton, and she'll be back in 2 weeks. And we're going to talk about some more issues ongoing, but we're going to focus one last note on the ethics.
Right. The next article in the Code of Ethics for Realtors, I've been trying to cover one of these each time. So this is Article 3, and it says that realtors shall cooperate with other brokers except when cooperation is not in the client's best interest. This obligation to cooperate does not include the obligation to share commissions, fees, or otherwise compensate another broker. So we can do that, but it's not a requirement in the Code of Ethics. So, and the key point there is that it's everything in the client's best interest.
Right.
So that is our primary goal, is to do everything that is in our client's best interest. And sometimes that can be misinterpreted by another agent, especially that we're doing something against them. Well, we're not. We're just keeping our client's best interests uppermost in our minds.
And for the other person's, their client is best interest may not be, but I see what you're saying.
Sure, should be. Yes, should be according to this code. So
interesting.
Yeah.
So we'll continue through those, and then in 2 weeks you'll be back at the same time at 8:45 on a Friday.
Yes. And we'll switch over to talking about what happens when you're the buyer.
Oh, excellent.
So that should be fun.
All right, Don.
And in the meantime, you can call me at 490-4493 or stop by and see me at John L. Scott Real Estate on Rail Road in downtown Shelton.
Very good. Nice to see you.
Thanks.
Have a great weekend.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
8:57 here. We're going to take a break here from the Old Farmer. Let's get ready to wrap things up here on a Friday morning. It's Good Friday, Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
Have tulips bloomed yet in your part of the country? While we keep a keen eye out, some interesting tulip facts today from the Old Farmer's Almanac. With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac radio report for Friday, March 25th. Good Friday is the 85th day of the year. Elton John celebrates his 69th birthday, and RCA began mass production of the first color TV sets on this day in 1954. Here's some fun facts about springtime's earliest perennials, tulips. We associate them with Holland, which exports most of the modern world's tulip supply, but tulips were first cultivated by the Turks of the Ottoman Empire. The word tulip, in fact, is often traced back to a Persian word for turban. In the language of flowers, red tulips signify a declaration of love, while others indicate imagination or dreaminess. And if you're ever without an onion, a tulip bulb is said to make a good substitute when cooking. That is the Old Farmer's Almanac radio report. Learn more about the meaning of flowers at almanac.com.
iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
Yeah, good morning to you. It is Daybreak at iFIBER ONE News Radio. Jeff Slakey, Carol Gardner.
Good morning, Jeff.
It is March 25th. It's Good Friday. Checking out the community calendar on iFiberOneNewsRadio.com. Looks like there's an Easter celebration at Oakland Bay Junior High coming up this weekend. Also, the caucuses are tomorrow. If you're a Democrat, you can head to your caucus location at 10 o'clock. The Olympia Eagles are having a free Easter egg hunt. Looks like on Sunday. You can find these Whoa. 21,000 eggs? Who's the person that has to set all those up? 21,000 eggs.
Can that be right? Where's this at?
Sunday, Olympia Eagles, a bunch of different age groups. There's 4 different age groups. So check it out on our community calendar. Have a great weekend, and we'll be back on Monday.